Does you saying it make it?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
Hello.
Okay, Brad, take it away.
I'm Brad, and I'm here with Nick. Take it away, Nick.
I'm Nick, and I'm here with Brad.
Hello.
And Crispy.
Hey.
And Chris Davis.
I was wondering whether you were going to introduce us or not.
Of course I am.
They're just going to keep throwing it back to
This is episode...
I
I haven't even said it yet.
What? What's going on?
God
All
damn
right,
it.
you can't do this. This is episode 420.
420!
Of... God damn it. This is the worst.
I wonder if this is going to happen.
Episode 420 of 4Player Podcast.
Sorry, go ahead.
We have a lot to talk about this evening, game-wise. Today was the first day of Gamescom over in Germany, which we did not attend, obviously, as we're still sitting here in Austin.
We need more Patreon money.
We need a lot more Patreon money before we can fly to Germany.
Do we?
It's funny.
We should set a Tokyo Game Show milestone.
I said this when we were initially proposing goals for Patreon. I told you like maybe $1,200 or $1,300 would be great for this.
You know
what?
You know what?
For Tokyo? Do you know how much?
That's like one plane ticket.
One plane ticket.
Yeah, but over the course of 5 months, that takes care of it.
Assuming we don't spend any money. You know,
yeah,
maybe that's not a bad idea. But
$10,000 milestone.
I'm glad you.
We all go to Tokyo.
It had to be Tokyo. Why does it? Let's just say Gamescom.
I'd like to go to Tokyo.
You'd rather go to Germany than Japan?
No, it's not about the country. I've always wanted to go to Japan, but if we're going to talk about going to a game show, I would much rather go to Gamescom than go to the Tokyo Game Show because that's been a joke for years.
Well, sure, but so is Gamescom. I mean, Gamescom is just a zoo. It's so crowded.
Anyways, I'm glad you brought up Patreon. So, going forward, I think there's a few things we want to do before we get the show started. Obviously, guys, if you're listening at home, whether you're watching us live on 4pp.tv as we record this live, or if you're downloading the show and listening to it on the go, we do a fairly long show here, but there's a lot of stuff going on our YouTube channel, on our website that we'd like to talk about. Right, Brad?
Yes. Oh, so if you're not going to be able to watch the entire podcast because our shows are about 2.5 hours, maybe head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch my new Hitman Blood Money series. The last episode that went up was the You Better Watch Out, You Better Not Cry.
The Christmas level?
The Christmas at the Playboy Mansion wannabe.
Oh my God, is that really a level in Hitman Blood Money?
Yeah.
Yes.
God damn.
You can shoot out the glass bottom of the jacuzzi.
Oh, I know that level.
There's so many ways to do that level.
That is how I actually. That's how I killed my target in that, because I did get through that mission. Yeah. I stopped on the steamboat level.
You could pretty much.
I think is the next one after that. Because that was
tough.
That's a pain in the dick.
There's a few little corners and crevices you can actually use in the steamboat level to really easily make it a silent assassin run.
Sorry, have you not done that? Have you not uploaded that level yet?
I have.
You have?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch you play that just because I literally stopped playing the game because that.
I am not a pro Hitman player. I am an entertaining Hitman player, I guess, if you will. I'm told, but yeah, it's more like if you ever seen Mulholland Drive, there was a scene with a hitman. I'm more like that guy.
Okay. The one after the steamboat's the casino, right?
Guys, we are not here to talk about Hitman.
Let's not talk about the Order of Blood Money levels.
I just wanted
to say that's one of my favorite levels.
Just wanted to bring that up.
That's one of the last levels.
Brad is currently working his way through Hitman Blood Money. You can find the episodes on YouTube, along with clips and daily clips that we put up.
Go watch that latest trailer talk. I squeezed one out. I pinched one off right before Gamescom because I knew there was going to be all these new trailers. But there's some really cool stuff.
That is the worst way you can use adjectives to describe your product.
I rubbed
rubbing one out, pinching a loaf off.
No, you added the word loaf. You sick bastard.
Speaking, I did feature the Devil's Third, so maybe it is appropriate. The Devil's Turd. I pinched off the Devil's Turd.
Tell you what, there was a 75-minute video that came out today of the single player.
Oh my God, it looks so bad.
It looks so bad. But I told you it was going to be bad.
It looks hilariously bad. I want to play
guys,
that game.
someone posted that link in Hip Chat, and they're like, it's a 75-minute video, and I literally was like, I can't think of a single thing I want to watch less than 75 minutes of
It's so bad.
that game.
It's so bad.
Anyways,
It's so bad.
you can check out that on our YouTube channel. Also, right now on the site at 4playernetwork.com, you may have noticed there is a video review that we posted today, which is for Batman Arkham Knight, which yes has been out for a while, but we're trying out a new review structure. It's kind of, and we anticipate if you guys like the structure, we'll probably end up using it for future games, especially when they're big games that all of us are going to end up playing. So check that out. It's cool. It has basically 4 opinions, 4 voices, with one aggregate score at the end, and we'll be streaming up about half of that during the break. So look for that. But right now, it's going up. It's exclusively on the site at 4playernetwork.com, and it will be made available on YouTube tomorrow, I think at noon.
Probably.
Yeah. So check that out and let us know what you think. Leave some comments. Let us know if you like that structure, if you have any suggestions, or which maybe some games you'd like to see us do in the future.
Comments are very important.
Comments are very.
Google Plus is going
Very.
away very soon.
It can be kind of hard for us to gauge what y'all want us to see if y'all don't speak up. So
Yeah, exactly. So. And we did this review because we all wanted to talk about the game, obviously, but at the same time, it was kind of like it was easy for a lot of us to contribute to a review in small chunks, than have one person crank out a huge lengthy review. And I think it ended up we covered a lot of ground that way. So check it out. Let us know what you think. We're curious to know what you think. And last but not least, actually, I was going to start with this because Chris Davis brought up Patreon a little while ago. But we have finally hashed out some updated tiers. We're going to be changing the way we handle our Patreon stuff. Not super dramatically, adding some new stuff that we're pretty excited about. I think you guys will be too.
it's going to be more consumer friendly.
It's more modern, postmodern, if you will.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. And we finally hashed out. I think we've come to an agreement, and I think we'll have some very exciting stuff to announce. And I think our goal, which we decided very recently, is by the 22nd of July, I want to have all this stuff hashed out, prepared, and ready to launch and roll out for you guys. So look for some Patreon updates July 22nd. And that's, of course, patreon.com/4player. But anyways,
Excuse me.
we're gonna talk about Gamescom and all that crazy shit that happened at Gamescom today in the second half of the show. But first, we have a few. I just want to catch up with you guys. That's what we do here.
Do you know why a phoenix down is called a phoenix down?
It's a phoenix's feather.
Yeah, it's a feather.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
down.
down.
Or
That's
down.
why you see the feather when you revive someone.
Yeah.
Okay, don't act like you fucking knew that back in the 90s, okay?
I didn't know back
course
in the
I knew
90s,
that.
but I've known
I
it for
didn't
several
just
years.
figure it out
damn
today.
it! I fucked that up. It is August, guys. God damn it, Ed.
Yeah, I
You're
was like,
fired.
what are you talking
Sorry,
about? Like
August
July?
22nd. Is it really August already? Fuck me.
I know, right?
I meant August 22nd.
Guess what? We are about 3 weeks away from Metal Gear Solid.
26 days.
Oh my God, Metal Gear is gonna become.
Was that like a church? Like a...
I just realized.
Sorry.
I'm still gonna be in Seattle when Metal Gear comes out. Oh well. Anyways,
It's kind of tempting not to go to Gamescom just for Metal Gear.
you mean PAX?
Whatever.
Yeah. See, we're all fucking making slip ups today. I'm just kidding, Ed. You're not fired. I said that when I was angry. It's okay. Guys, what's new with you guys?
I don't know. Oh, hey, you know what I watched 2 episodes of today? Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, I watched that whole thing.
I don't like it.
I watched the whole thing.
I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what? I thought that movie was pretty funny back in the day. You know what also was interesting about that movie? I feel like absurdist comedy was a lot less saturated back then, maybe. Now, like, every commercial you see is like, absurdist humor. It doesn't have the same effect that it used to have. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh enough.
It does feel a little more hit or miss. And it's got this weird pacing where they take 8 episodes to cover a single day, but the story feel like that's too...
What is this, Dragon Ball Z?
It's like they can't do
24?
they can't split a day into 12 episodes, but they can't tell their story in just 8. Like it feels
Wait,
like
why
it
can they
kinda
not
just
split their day
ends.
into... They can split their day
it's
into
already
24 episodes,
because they're
clearly.
already doing like so much shit within like every single
the series
like,
is
hour
called
of the day.
the first day
the first
of
day
camp.
of summer.
The
Or
first
first
day.
day camp, yeah.
Or whatever.
Whatever. I liked it, and I think some of the funnier stuff happens towards the end.
Just like Kimmy Gibbler or whatever that show's called.
Oh, fuck off, Brad.
I've
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
That show was good.
That's a good show. I like that show.
Okay.
Yeah, Brad, you're wrong. I can't speak.
You
I haven't seen.
curmudgeon-y old man.
I haven't seen
What is
any of that show.
what does me not finding that show funny have anything to do with my age?
I don't know.
Everything, Brad.
I'm just saying.
Everything.
Possibly.
You are the oldest person.
Young
in this
people
room.
think Borderlands is funny. Sorry. Oh, not Tales from the Borderlands. That is legitimately funny. Let's move on. What did anybody else do?
Fuck you, Brad.
I heard that Mission Impossible movie is all right.
It's all. I think that's the best
I
way to
really
describe
like
I
it.
the
really
last
wanted
one.
to go see it.
Oh, shut.
It's really dumb.
Well, I mean,
It-
yeah.
You know,
It's
we had a
entertaining.
long conversation with this on Twitter. 'Cause what? What?
Like, they literally have a conversation that's like, we have to steal the prime minister. It's the only way.
Well, I mean,
But those
that's
movies,
kind of what
those
makes
movies
it.
are pretty like fun. I mean, they're not. They don't take themselves too serious.
No, they don't.
But,
I mean,
but
Simon
they-
Pegg is goofy.
when they're getting to like these big kind of dramatic moments and people in the theater are laughing at parts that like shouldn't be funny, because there is plenty of comedic relief in those movies, but then they move on to more serious stuff and people are laughing more at that than they are the Simon Pegg being
You know,
goofy
and I said
jokes.
this on Twitter, but I'm glad because this is Crispy's first Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them.
I'm glad he finally watched one, but I'm kind of sad that he started with this one because I don't think this is the best. I think this is probably the worst one next to 2.
Really?
2, yeah, I think
Yeah.
2 is still the worst. 2 is still the worst for sure. But I think 4, 3, and of course 1. I think they're all far superior films to.
do you
Well,
think
it's,
Nation.
it's
Do you
rated
think
at
that-
93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No,
though,
it's not a bad
so-
movie. It's just I think it's missing. It's not nearly as smart as.
I mean, that was like
Ghost
2
Protocol.
points away from Mad Max. and-
Protocol that's smart. It was a fun ride.
It's a fun ride, but it is.
It was as far as fun rides with a healthy dose of suspension of disbelief goes. This is a hell of a lot better than
I will say this.
say Jurassic World.
I will say this, like the suspension of disbelief, like I really had like, of course it's Mission Impossible. You're always gonna have to suspend your disbelief, but they always have that like one set piece moment where it's like the crazy impossible like thing they're gonna do, like heist quote unquote thing they're gonna do, and when it
The
finally
mission, if you will.
yeah, but when it finally came time for that in this movie, I was like, no, I don't quite buy it. Like I've bought
Yeah.
it. They've done a much better job of making me like accept what they're trying to do in the previous movies.
The latest Fast and the Furious movie is more realistic than.
Oh, I
than your
can't comment
movie.
on that. By the way,
Yeah.
I watched Fast and the Furious 6 for the first time, just by accident. That movie is so dumb.
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what,
Good kinda
it was
dumb.
fun.
Yeah.
No, they are. You should probably check out Fast 5.
I think I'm gonna check out
Fast
7 first. Well,
Yeah, but 5 just has
Furious
some
7.
ludicrously
Ludicrous?
stupid. But it's
is
so
Ludacris
good.
in it?
I no
Yeah,
idea.
I bet he's in
Fast
it.
5 is the universally loved.
Fast
Yeah.
5 is really good.
Really?
I went into watching it wanting to hate it, and I
You know what
came
I'll
out
say?
with a smile.
You know
on
what
my
I will
face.
say? And sorry, we'll move on to video games in just a second. But you know what I will say is this: the craziest, stupidest. I couldn't even suspend my disbelief in Fast and Furious 6. The end of that movie, like the finale of that movie. Sorry, spoilers. Takes place on a runway as they're chasing like this cargo plane that's about to take off, and the plane is literally like getting ready to take off, and there is a chase scene, and that whole action sequence takes place on the runway while it's trying to take off. Lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, and the plane never takes off. And it just keeps
building up speed.
like it's just it's building up speed on a runway.
ridden
And it's
other
like,
planes.
how long is this runway?
Once we get to the end of this 20-mile runway,
literally, it's and what like
Maybe they were just driving.
considering
to their
how fast they
destination.
were driving to, it must have been longer than 20 miles. Like it's kind
Maybe
of.
it was a circle.
remember to throttle up there.
Have you ever seen a plane take off on a circle runway?
But maybe it wasn't the takeoff runway. It was just they were riding around in a circle.
Brad,
hey,
no.
let's talk about Ving Rhames. Do you think this guy's like, oh, thank God, another Mission Impossible movie? I feel like in the first one, he was like a pretty good get. It's like, yeah, we got Ving Rhames. This is good. He's relevant. Now,
And the funny thing is, he
now he's
shows
just
up-
like, oh, thank God.
Well, so like in this
He-
movie, he was just kind of Like, they probably could have shot all of his stuff in, like, a weekend, right?
That's him in every Mission Impossible movie since the first one.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, okay, we'll get some scenes with you back in
shit you
base. We'll
not.
get the scene of you up on the tower where you're like, I gotta hack a Russian satellite real quick, which happens. And then that was it. He
know
wasn't,
what?
like, part of any of the action scenes.
I
or
shit you
anything.
not, Chris.
But he gets
Crispy.
a paycheck.
I'm Chris Davis.
does.
Sorry,
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
fine.
I get confused. I shit you not.
He works hard for his
I
money.
shit you not. In Ghost Protocol, I think if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've watched the movie, but he shows up. He literally is in the final scene, like after the mission's over.
The most
Yeah.
action he gets, like the most action he sees in that movie is when like one of the bad guys is getting away and they're like, Ving Rhames, stop her, and he's like running and she gets away and he just runs up and he's like, she got away. That's the most action-y thing he does in that movie.
You know,
That's right.
I don't remember where I heard it, but there's rumor going around that for the 6th film, they want to get Edgar Wright to do it.
Mission Impossible?
Yeah.
Hey, well, you
Dude,
know,
I would love to see that.
You know, I'll tell
Maybe
you what.
that'd be
Simon
pretty
Pegg
good.
can be the main dude.
I will give him this. One thing I love about this series, and I've liked about it since the first one, is that every single one has had a new director, and as a result, they all have kind of a different feel.
I thought Abrams did the 4th film.
Abrams
No.
he did the third
He
film.
did
was
the 3rd film, but I
Brad
thought he also
Bird.
did the 4th.
Did the fourth
No.
one.
Yeah, Brad Bird did the fourth one. And this
Wasn't
one,
the first one a Brian De Palma film?
I think so, yeah.
Second one is John Woo.
That's crazy.
And John Woo fucked it up bad.
No, not Brian De Palma. Let me look that doesn't sound right.
Okay. I don't know.
Wait, you can't
I've
look it up,
never
Brad.
seen
You're
it.
supposed to be in airplane mode.
Yeah, right.
But your
Well,
favorite
I
is...
could be completely wrong.
Your favorite is number 3, though,
My favorite
right?
is 3. Just
It was somebody.
far and away,
It
3 is my favorite.
is Brian De
I can't bring myself to agree anywhere near
I don't
that.
need you to agree with me, Chris Davis. I'm just saying, Mission Impossible 3 is my favorite. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's got a much more personal, grounded story. And I don't know.
That being said...
Mission Impossible, it's not something worthy of conversation like a week after you see it. It's like the Wild Arms of movies. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that was a pretty solid game. Moving on with
It
my
was
life.
Brian De Palma. Look at that. Smelly Jelly in chat has confirmed it was
it?
Brian
That
De
is
Palma.
really strange.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
By the way, the first one is also very much worth
it-
watching.
is
it-
It's a
the first
great
one's
it's a
great.
great
Is it
film.
the best one?
Well, the thing here's the only reason why I have a trouble saying it's my favorite one is because it feels so dramatically different from everything post 1. Because one feels more like a spy thriller.
Yeah, one's more like a spy mystery thriller.
Actually,
Everything
Definitely.
after it is like a high octane like James Bond action.
Number
film.
2 is definitely a high octane. Number 3...
It has to be described as high octane.
I'm sorry, Crispy.
I mean, literally, there's like chases on motorcycles.
Is that a
and
no-no?
It's I don't know.
Like, I'm serious. I seriously believe this is the most lip service that ever been given to Mission Impossible.
Hey, I think it's a great film series. It's just
Great.
Yeah,
Or would you
it's
say
great.
good?
It's fun.
Would you say good?
I'm gonna go with great. It's great fun.
But it's not
It's just
like,
like Fast and Furious. You would say Fast and Furious is a great film series because it's just fun. You go to the theater, you watch it, and you have fun. Nothing wrong with that. It's not going to win an
maybe
Oscar.
it's because Tom Cruise is all weird. I
I
don't know.
mean,
How? Okay, as a Mission Impossible fan, did you ever play the PS2 game?
Nope. Moving on.
I just wanted to know how bad it was.
Dude,
the
there-
N64 game sold pretty well.
wasn't there a PS1 Mission Impossible game?
Yes.
I played a little bit of that. And was
Yeah,
like,
that-
this is bad. This is bad. Anyways, we have video
Every
games.
licensed PS1 game was bad.
You know what? I will say this: if you like Mission Impossible, go see Rogue Nation. It's kind of fun.
And I would like to mention, if y'all have been remotely interested in the
This is a
road
guy-
cut of X-Men: Days of Future Past, which came out a couple weeks ago, don't get it. It's not worth your money.
That came out of nowhere, Chris Davis.
Can you believe Psylocke is being played by...
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn, yeah.
Isn't she
I'll watch
a little
it.
short
I don't
for
know.
Psylocke?
I mean, just give
I'll
it
watch
a chance.
it. Shit. Anyways, moving on to video games because that's what we do here. This is not a movie podcast, believe it or not.
I don't know. Did you hear about the new...
No, guys, video games.
Just a few more dollars, and it could be.
Sure, that's right. We are still working our way up to.
Yeah.
We could have recorded a popcorn cast about Mission Impossible.
We could have.
But no.
But see, I don't think anyone would have downloaded
I'm just
that.
kidding. We'll get there eventually. You son of a bitch.
I hear they're making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
They're making
Directed by the guy who did the
They're making a
Poltergeist remake.
Tetris film. They're making everything.
It's officially gone too far. Who sits down and decides which video games get made into movies? Because they're picking all the wrong ones.
I heard they're making a movie where Pac-Man invades Earth or something.
By the way, I don't know if you've seen it. The review that you showed us for who did that?
That movie Bob review.
Pixels.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know what? Everyone loves making fun of Adam Sandler, but you know what? Punch Drunk Love was pretty good. Anyways, what are we talking about?
We're talking about video games.
About time.
Who here has played something that hasn't been talked about a billion
Crispy
times?
has.
Crispy to the
I've
rescue.
played 2 games that we haven't talked about.
All right.
Yay!
So I'll let you pick which one we start with.
I want
let's
to
start
hear about
with-
the one that came out today.
Oh, they come out today?
Galak-Z. Yep, that
Oh my
came out
god,
today.
haven't we been playing this at PAX?
Oh
for
Actually,
my
like
it
God!
came out 11 o'clock.
Galaxy!
Galak-Z.
Really?
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say
Wow, that was gullible.
because that was like a Nick pun failure there.
That was like when I realized that that Dracula is Alucard or Alucard is Dracula backwards. I was
And
like,
Ekans and Snake and that was a great clip. That really was.
hey, you know it's not as obvious. It's not as obvious.
You know Red Rum backwards is murder?
Let's talk about Galak-Z.
Galak-Z.
You know the reason I didn't pick this up?
Why?
Because I don't think people would enjoy watching me broadcast this. Because everything
I don't
everything
know.
is so little.
It is kind of tiny.
And Brad only goes big.
I only go big. Big sprites, big penises.
Yeah. Yeah. Big D.
Low hanging fruit
So-
there, Brad. I'm sorry.
Galak-Z is a 2D 360-degree space shooter, kind of like Asteroid, but it's also a roguelike. So the way it's like actually broken down, it's presented like a cartoon show. Like, you know, we've seen this at like PAX and stuff before.
yeah.
And
80s
they've always
cartoon.
they've always played up that's like, oh, it's an 80s sci-fi like Japanese cartoon show. And it's presented in seasons. So there's 5 seasons to get through the whole game. Each season is 5 episodes or
The second indie game you've played where it's broken down and structured into seasons. Isn't Chrome Squad like that?
Yeah, actually you're right. Like the like it's not released in episodes, but it's the actual progression of the game is broken into episodes. So
That was cool.
yeah. So basically the first season you've just survived this attack by the evil empire, which that's all they're called. I don't even know.
Well, would you say
anything
that,
deeper than
like,
but-
one season would be like, say, one world in Spelunky or whatever, where
Yeah,
kind of once you
it
get
is-
through it, you don't have to start from
it's,
that one.
it's definitely like that, where each season is kind of like a region or like a world.
Well, why would they be called seasons instead of episodes? I mean,
Well, because
'Cause there's
there's
5
an actual
episodes.
storyline between the different.
okay, so there are.
I mean, it's a
individual
really
episode
basic
levels.
storyline, but like there are specific events that happen in each season.
Okay.
And you have to complete all 5 episodes in a season without dying in order to move on. And if you die in the middle of a season, even if you're like on the last episode or mission, you lose everything. The whole season resets. Anything, all your salvage, anything you bought with it, all your upgrades, that all goes away, and you just have to start back from the beginning of the season.
It does. It's a cool looking game. I love the explosions.
It
but
screams macro.
But,
It's hard
there's
to
a lot.
parse.
There's a lot going on between like the different seasons too. So like it took me a while. It took me several hours of playing the game in order to actually clear season 1 to do all 5 missions, because like your damage like you can see the little red squares down in the corner.
Yeah.
That's like your actual hull damage. That doesn't reset between missions. That carries through. So you have to either find health or buy it. You have to rely on your shields a lot. Once I actually finally got through that first season, there's like a big boss at the end. In the second season, they introduce a new mode for your fighter. So your ship actually can, if you hit triangle, it'll turn into a mech. What? So yeah, it turns into a robot. And the robot has a sword. It doesn't have any guns or anything, so you go completely melee. So it really kind of changes how you have to play. And he's got like a grappling hook and everything. So like any of these asteroids you see flying around, you can actually grapple them and then like throw them at enemies.
Can you can grapple them, like spin them around and fling them?
It doesn't really have like a
0
sense
out
of
of 10.
It doesn't have a sense of momentum like that. But any direction you shoot it, it just goes. Well, yeah. The ship is kind of floaty.
You can pick up enemies too.
You can pick up enemies and like actually that makes there's a specific type of like Imperial fighter that in season 1 for me was incredibly difficult because they were really powerful and they had like these lock-on missiles and everything. As soon as you get the mech, you can grab them, and when you're grabbing them, their directional weapons don't work on you because you're kind of just like holding them.
Yeah.
And then you can just like sit there and wail on them and kill them, and it makes that kind of enemy a lot easier. So it really kind of changes how you approach different situations. The flight controls take some getting used to because you've got them on your triggers basically. It's kind of like a what are they called in Battlestar Galactica? Like the Vipers. Yeah. So it has thrusters in the back, but it also has thrusters on the front. You can turn 360 degrees. It doesn't really fly like a plane. It flies like a ship in space. So your right trigger controls your thrust, like your forward thrust. Left trigger controls a reverse thrust. You get a strafe module that lets you like fire thrusters off the top, so you can actually like strafe around enemies. Yeah. You've got a boost that if you hit that boost button, whichever direction you're going, forward or backwards, it boosts it, make you go faster. It takes a lot of getting used to, and especially when you get a bunch of enemies flying around, and they're all kind of going in different directions, it gets really chaotic. But once you get it figured out, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with it.
It looks cool.
I've been playing for a few hours.
I've heard really good things about like the AI. That like it's actually pretty sophisticated, almost like a stealth game, or like something like Far Cry, where
I don't know if you can see, but like if you look really closely, there's this like blue halo around my ship, right?
Yeah.
When you're boosting, like whenever you're using thrusters, that halo expands depending on how hard your
sound
range. And that's your detection range. And they'll have like probes and ships that are flying around. If you get within that field, they hear you. So a lot of times, I mean, it took me a few deaths to kind of figure it out because it is a roguelike. You have to be defensive. So a lot of times I'll be like strafing around rocks and stuff to get a drop on enemy fighters. So there is a little bit of that going on. Once you get detected by those like that little probe that just tried to fly away there, they can go get in reinforcements and bring back other people, and it just becomes this whole big clusterfuck. Especially when you've got laser upgrades like I've got, you can see how my ship's firing like 3 different bursts of multiple lasers, and they bounce off rocks. That's all equipment that you can find or purchase.
And how many different like weapons do you have at once, or are you switching between them, or do you just have one? You've got your lasers, which is on X, and then you've got your missiles, which is on circle. And you don't really switch weapons. You get upgrades and attachments for them. So like your laser cannons will have 5 different things that you can upgrade. They have like the muzzle, so you can choose to have like an assault muzzle that keeps everything focused and you fire faster, or you can have like a wide shot muzzle. You can get different types of lasers, so just like regular lasers, you can have like auto fire, like machine gun lasers. Yeah.
You can have like that cluster shot, like I was doing, and then you get other things too that like will split. Like you can do different laser patterns, so like it'll split like how it's firing the beams. It'll affect the beams themselves, so like some of them will be like, you can get ones that make them like incendiary, or you can get ones that make them bounce off walls and shit like that. So if you've got enemies in a tight space and you just start firing your laser, they're just bouncing everywhere, hitting everything.
Yeah.
Which makes your chances of survivability, gives you a higher survivability because you can deal with enemies a lot better. Like when you first start, the base lasers, the base missiles, like you're not going to get very far on that.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult actually. I don't know, man. I'm really digging it, and the whole like aesthetic of the game, the whole like you were saying, it's kind of like Macross or Macross or whatever, with like a bit of Gundam and stuff like that thrown in. It's got this whole like
and the 80s cartoon.
Yeah, I don't know if I have. Oh, these are the different laser modifications right there. I don't know if I have it on this video, but like even your pause menu, if you hit pause, it looks like it acts like it's pausing a VCR tape. And like it brings up a VCR menu for like all your audio and control options and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. When you beat a season 2, they even run credits for the game. It's kind of like, oh, I beat the game, but it's just the season.
That's
but they run the credits over like still frames of like the game, and it looks like an 80s like closing sequence on a cartoon show.
Yeah.
It's really, really neat. They did a really good job on the presentation of this game. I don't know. It's difficult.
I went to my parents' house last week, and my dad asked me to help him hook up a VCR.
I'm sorry.
I almost didn't even know what to do for a second. I was like, wait a second, I gotta think about this for a second. There wasn't a single TV in our house that had a composite input. Anyways, sorry. I digress.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I've only played a few hours of it. I just started Season 2, so I just got to the part...
How long did it take you to beat one season? Oh, I guess they're probably going to get harder.
Yeah, I started playing last night, and I beat Season 2, I beat Season 1, an hour or two before I came over
here.
So,
that big blue circle...
Maybe 4 hours.
Is that a unexplored map, and then as you progress, it, carves out chunks of the...
Yeah, like the hex part of the maps, they're all covered up are areas that you haven't been to yet.
Yeah.
Most of the maps are like this, where you'll be flying in open space, and there will be a large structure that you fly into to complete your objective. So you do get into a lot of these kind of maze-like areas, which get to be a real pain in the ass if you're flying. When you're doing shit like that, where I'm flying backwards shooting at an enemy, if you've got a bunch of enemies attacking you and you don't know where the path is, and you just keep running into walls, that's a really good way to die.
So I just noticed there's this big green dude, and you shot at him a few times and he exploded, but it looks like he exploded into 4 or 5 flaming pieces that were flying towards you.
Yeah.
Can you take damage from those?
No, they don't give you any sort of collision damage.
Okay.
Because if you could take damage by things hitting you, you would never be able to finish this game. You're running into walls and debris and shit like that all the time.
I love that missile, the multi-missile, the barrage that comes out, because it reminds me of Zone of the Enders too.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. You have a little targeter. You have to actually lock in on targets to fire missiles, and then you can over-target to shoot more missiles, and they just have that huge barrage.
You need to watch some Macross, man. I'm telling you.
I need to watch some Macross?
Yeah.
Macross is an anime.
Oh, I thought it was a... Never mind.
Place of Omega Boost.
That'd be good.
So I think it's cool that you can hide behind stuff. I saw a video where he was in mech mode and he grabbed a shipping container, but as he was holding it, the enemy couldn't see it. They just saw a floating shipping container.
Yeah,
you know
there's there's a part
that's cool.
in episode 1 of season 2, which is kind of which is your introduction to the mech mode, where you have to go through this kind of mazy section that has all these different turrets in it, and there's shipping containers and there's exploding crates floating around.
Yeah,
and the whole thing is about learning how to use the crates to throw them at shipping container, or to throw them at turrets to blow them up, or you can grab containers to block their sensors and kind of just float through.
It's cool.
It's really neat.
Maybe I'll try it. I don't know.
I'm enjoying it. I got it on PlayStation. I'm not sure. I think it's also on Steam as well.
I want to see some more reviews. There's no reviews out for this game yet. It's frustrating. Maybe because it's really hard.
They'll trickle in.
Honestly, it's making me really want to play No Man's Sky.
I never would have guessed, Crispy. Never ever would have guessed.
The whole Starfighter thing. I
didn't want to bring it up.
So cool.
Why don't you just watch some BSG? Are you a fan of BSG?
Yeah, I mean, I watched...
He mentioned Viper. He knows what he's talking about.
No, I watched 4 or 5 episodes of Battlestar.
That's it?
No, do you remember when you guys were trying to get me into it a year ago? I went home and I started watching and I just stopped.
You like Star Trek. You couldn't get into BSG?
It was okay.
BSG.
Okay.
Season 2 is the best.
That's what I've heard.
I've been playing some stuff.
What have you been playing?
Wait, don't you have another game?
We'll come back to it.
We'll mix it up a little bit. Mix it up.
Well, I don't... So, Chai Tai was our subscriber of the month for last month, and he chose a game. Well, the game I ultimately decided to play, I actually played through and I finished, and that's Mega Man X4. And I decided to kind of do a deep dive into Mega Man. Mega Man is not a series I have a long history with. I didn't really play the games back on the NES much, you know. I didn't really play any of them. You know, I played like one Battle Network game. I played Mega Man Legends. You know, I don't have this long history. I didn't really like hardcore platforming action games back in the day. The kind of games that I gravitated towards back in the day were, you know, like Final Fantasy and Zelda, stuff where you have an adventure and there's a lot of progression and you build over time and it's not just about balls hard challenges. So I'm playing several Mega Man games right now. One of them is Mega Man 2 on my 3DS, which here's some footage of Mega Man 2 right here, me playing it rather poorly.
Why does he jump like that?
So Mega Man, but that's one of his most beloved thing is that animation, that jump animation.
I have, by the way, I have like little to no.
Well, good. I'm
experience
glad
with
you're
Mega Man at
watching
all.
this. So this game you're watching right here is one of the most beloved games of all time, and it's kind of widely considered to be the best Mega Man game. Still, after all these years, after so many Mega Man games, this is Mega Man 2 for the NES, and this is Metal Man. I'm about to
Is this game hard? Like, is it supposed to be known for being difficult?
It is hard. I mean, it's not. So here's the thing about Mega Man 2, and I think it might be one of the reasons why people love it so much is that it's not.
You're getting hit a lot, Brad. You're getting hit a lot.
Yeah. But I'm about to kill him. Once you beat this guy right here, you get these metal blades, these saw blades that you throw. And you can throw them in 8 directions, and they're really powerful. They have a big hitbox, and they take like no energy. So you can just spam them. And it's so overpowered. And the game goes from like really difficult to kind of a cakewalk after you get these metal blades. For the most part. Once you get to Wily's Castle, which I'm in now, it's still really difficult. But yeah, I mean,
Woodman.
the metal blades.
Yeah, that's
so
the
I've
worst.
been playing Mega Man 2 on my 3DS, and I'm enjoying it. It's you know, it feels a little imbalanced because I have these metal blades here.
Is
See
this
these
footage you
things?
captured off of the 3DS?
No, this is footage I captured off an emulator because I can capture 3DS footage, but this is Mega Man 2. Looks like an NES game. Actually, this looks really nice compared to the version I'm playing on my 3DS. I have a pretty nice NES emulator, I guess. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Mega Man 2. In a second here, we're going to get to the other Mega Man game I've been playing. I recorded about 10 minutes of footage with a variety of all 3 of the Mega Man games I've been playing. But
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if Mega Man 2... I don't know. I feel like there's a little nostalgia behind this being the best in the series. Oh, here's the other one. This is the one I finished. This is Mega Man X4. This was Chai Tai's pick. I actually played through the game as Zero. Y'all know who Zero is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zero is
Dr.
Zero?
Wily's answer to X.
Okay.
I knew that.
Well, I didn't know you knew the fucking story. So why do you know who Zero is? Have y'all played like?
Where are
one-
you? I was kidding. I had no
I mean,
idea. who Zero was.
I've only
I played
ever-
the first Mega Man X. That's the only.
Okay.
X
Like I
game.
said,
Yeah,
I have.
a lot of people played the first Mega Man.
I have
X.
literally. No.
This is the
experience
first
with
one where you can kind of like play as Zero all the way through. He kind of has. He's the long. He wears red. He's a red bot. He's got long blonde hair and a lightsaber essentially. He's actually a playable character in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yep.
This looks like a ripoff of Mighty Number 9. I'm sorry.
I know you're joking, but
Yeah.
I'm joking.
actually this looks way more interesting than Mighty Number 9, which I think looks like hot garbage. But hey, whatever.
Tell us how you really feel, Brad. I'm just kidding. Just keep talking.
Just mostly boring. Mighty Number 9. So this game this game was less frustrating than Mega Man 2, but it also feels a little more balanced. When you play as Zero, you don't actually get boss powers. But you do get a power every time you beat a boss, but they're more like moves.
Yeah,
that
they're,
don't take
they're-
up energy.
There are different ways to use his energy blade.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And this game was really fun, actually. I played through Mega Man X1 last year, which is sort of the other most beloved Mega Man game, and that one was widely considered to be this great, perfect game. And after kind of playing through this, I'm wondering why maybe like the later Mega Man X games are not as considered to be as good, because this one seems just as good. Maybe the level design isn't quite as inspired as in the first Mega Man X, but you know, I had fun. I'm not sure why Chai chose this game. The only game that he chose that I hadn't already played. So So he's kind of what got me into playing some Mega Man games.
I mean, I guess to the point of why people love X1 more than any other of the X's or a lot of Mega Man games is probably because it's probably one of the easiest Mega Man games ever made.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have.
It's the only
So
one
it's a matter
I've
of
ever beaten.
accessibility, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I have this belief that a lot of these games that people have most nostalgic for are, I mean, it makes sense that it's the games that they actually managed to beat. We don't have a lot of nostalgia for games that we couldn't get very far in.
True.
And since Mega Man X is actually kind of easy, since Mega Man 2 is kind of a cakewalk, once you get those metal blades, you can play a lot of that game without having much trouble. People have these memories of, these fond memories.
So I guess this is Legends.
And then I also started playing some Mega Man Legends. Now this is the kind of Mega Man, the first 3D Mega Man game, and it's weird because it doesn't play like a Mega Man game. This is a lot kind of like a Zelda game, a little bit
In a way, yeah.
Well, you're on this island and you can kind of explore this island. There's a city and you can buy equipment to level up your stats.
There's quests you can
go
equip
on. Different weapons. There's like quests you can go on. There's these like dungeons that you can kind of go down into and like find materials to upgrade various things. This sequence here, I'm kind of guiding my car through this area where I'm killing all these tanks. But this game has a lot of fucking personality and style. For a game that came out in 1997, I know this is emulated, but just because of its style, I think it holds up really well in terms of looks. Like there's voice acting and it's not great, but the
point is there is actually voice acting.
There's like lip syncing. In 1997, not just voice acting, but they actually animated their faces, like their mouths, to where you can actually see them talking. Like that's crazy for the time, like a year or 2 years later, you have Metal Gear Solid and then like Soul Reaver, which have like amazing voice acting. But even then, it's still of an age where like heads just kind of bobbled while he talked. This has actual like speaking lips, and it was really impressive for the time.
Speaking lips.
The thing that doesn't hold up about this game are its controls.
Are you controlling with the D-pad?
No, so the way this game controls is that it was built for like early PlayStation games. Yeah. So the DualShock wasn't around at the time. Yeah. So you move with the D-pad and then you press the L1 and R1 to turn the camera. Yeah. To pan it.
I'm playing an emulator. I mapped that to a right analog stick. And just kind of put the shoot on the shoulder buttons, makes it a little easier. But there's a lock on, kind of like a Z targeting lock on, but you can't move while you're locked on. So really the best way to actually hit things and not get hit yourself is to just sort of circle strafe around them. So there's a lot of kind of running in circles, shooting my blaster at enemies. But it's fun. I just wish it controlled a little bit better, because otherwise, outside of controls and cameras, I think this game holds up remarkably well, and I would love to see another one of these. Unfortunately, I don't know about this Red Ash game. The Kickstarter failed miserably. Supposedly, they still got
280,000 shy of what their goal was, I think, or
something
along
those lines. It was already
fully
fully funded, and everybody just decided to stop supporting it.
Well, they weren't supporting. I mean,
it was kind of a weird time to announce that they were fully funded.
It also doesn't help that this is one of the most poorly managed Kickstarters I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, it was a disaster.
It was launched at the exact wrong time. They launched 2 Kickstarters. They didn't even have their first game out. They got all their messages wrong, and they were like marketing a game that wasn't even a game for like the base price.
Let me ask you, Nick. You had a Nintendo 64. You were like a 64 kid, right?
I was a Toys R Us kid, but yes.
What? I get it. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
So I'm guessing this series was not very popular. Like when I was playing this, there wasn't a lot of people in chat who were very familiar with it. There was 2 games in this series, kind of a third spinoff as well with Tron Bond. And I'm wondering, like, this game did come to N64 as Mega Man 64. Was that not even something that you had heard of or on your radar? Did you even see it in a magazine going, hey, Mega Man 64?
Don't even think it was on my radar, man.
I remember it.
I mean, it's just...
I wasn't like I've said this before, like, as far as my history of gaming goes, like when I started playing the N64, I was still. I didn't even know what I liked at that point yet. So, and there was not. I didn't follow the industry super closely at that point. So, like,
I mean, I owned a 64 too, and I remember the release of Mega Man 64.
Yeah, but you were already pretty big into gaming at that point in your life, weren't you?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I grew up on an NES.
I went from having a Super Nintendo with 1 game to having an N64 with like 3, and that was kind of my gateway.
Okay. It was just weird because
Mega
Man games were so popular on the NES and the Super NES, but sort of by the ends of those like lifespans, they kind of got old. They just made too many of them.
I mean, I'm guessing seeing him run around that open space though, and like the color palette and just kind of the way the game looks, it actually reminded me a little bit of Quest 64, which was a game that I know that game is terrible, but like just like the look and feel of it, I don't know, it's reminded me of it.
I mean, the cool thing about Mega Man 64, for example, and the games that Capcom was doing at that time for the 64 was that they were really experimenting about porting things as best they can. So an unrelated example would be Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They ported Resident Evil 2 from a 2 CD based game on the PlayStation to a 32 megabyte cartridge on the Nintendo 64, and other than just a drop in audio quality, everything was there. It even had extra content.
Yeah.
And that was remarkable. And I heard similar things about Mega Man, so...
Yeah. I didn't even know they released it on the N64.
Yeah, it was... They only released Mega Man Legends 1 on the 64.
Oh, wait, now that I'm thinking about it...
2 was only on PlayStation.
The funny thing is, I can remember the cartridge for Mega Man, but I can't remember actually playing the game or seeing the box or anything like that. I remember what the cartridge looked like.
Did you even know that Mega Man was sort of like a icon of the industry?
I think so. I mean, very shortly after I got the N64, I remember getting into the PlayStation, and I don't know, there was a lot of
Mega Man games.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I've been doing a deep dive into this series, and I've been kind of enjoying some of these games. I don't know how much further I'll go down that rabbit hole, but I'm glad to finally be playing some of these Mega Man games that I never finished.
Yeah, when you said Mega Man, deep dive in the Google Doc,
you thought it was a new game?
I thought it was like a fan based mod, like Mega Man X Corruption. I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. I want to know.
Well, now we all know.
A deep dive into Mega Man games. Now you know.
Real quick, before I know Crispy has another game he wants to talk about. Before we wrap up this segment, because the second segment of this podcast, we're going to be talking a lot about Gamescom, as you might be able to tell. There's a lot of stuff that was announced today, or not really announced, but shown for the first time. A lot of cool stuff that we're going to be talking about in the second segment. I just wanted to remind you, because I forgot to bring it up at the beginning of the show. There's a forum thread over at 4playernetwork.com. If you have any thoughts or things you want to make sure you hear us talk about, whatever, I'll be coming through that during the break. So if you want to leave some comments or thoughts or whatever, maybe spur some conversation, post a comment in the forum thread, and I'll see it during the break and possibly bring it up during the second half. Anyways, were there any other small games we want to get to before Crispy shows his last game that he's been playing?
I did want to briefly mention that I started an XCOM game. I had not played Enemy Within before.
Yeah. But you had played Enemy Unknown. I
played through Enemy Unknown, beat it once, and didn't go back to it really. And I decided to start up an Enemy Within game on a whim the other day. I'm really impressed with what they put into it. Yeah, I've been using chatters as soldiers. So I've got like Skyliner is my best sniper. Got Smelly Jelly as one of my shotgunners. I mean, I've got a bunch of people in there.
Cool.
But I'm really impressed with the quality they put into it.
I was impressed too years ago.
When it came out, it was $30, and I just didn't anticipate it, adding enough content to be justifiable.
Speaking of being
impressed,
you
have no mechs. What's up with that?
I decided to do a little bit of genetics, but mostly focus on building up my team weapons and armor.
Doing it wrong.
Get mechs.
Speaking of being impressed, years ago, I've been playing more of The Witcher 3.
You have? How far are you in that?
I'm level 16 now.
I don't know.
I'm still in Novigrad.
Dude,
I've been in Novigrad.
So
Novigrad is like the fucking Citadel. I've been there for a long time.
I did. So I'm actually getting pretty close to the end of the game. And like,
you look like you have ridiculous ears right now.
I know. I'm glad that that story is like, gotta find Ciri, but hey, do these quests. It's like, gotta find Ciri, gotta find Ciri, gotta find Ciri, gotta find Ciri for like 50 hours, right?
Oh God.
All I'll say is that like once you get towards the end of that game, like the stuff starts getting pretty good. You know, like the wait is worth it all. I should be saying.
I already
should
consider
say
it pretty good.
Starts getting pretty good.
Well, no, this stuff
200
is good. There's a lot of good stories, but there's stories that revolve around getting to know all these new people who are going to help you find Siri. You know what I mean?
Man, I'm having a real hard time with dealing with this whole choice between Yennefer and Triss thing. I really.
Well, if you've read The Last Wish,
Do I look like I've read The Last Wish, Brad?
It's in the game.
it's
I think it's a book you can find in the game and read
well,
it.
I'm sure that book
This
is.
It's sitting on a bookshelf somewhere in Novigrad.
Yeah.
Go find it.
It's there's a cool little like follow up to that
I mean,
recommend.
I'm just saying, like, I've been.
Can I just talk about that because it's not related to the events.
I don't want you to paint my.
No. so like when Geralt first meets Yennefer, it involves a genie and a wish, and their relationship may or may not be this attraction because of like a wish that was made.
They could all be
that's kinda
magically
cool. Yeah.
ordained.
Yeah,
Like,
they kind of resolve that in this game.
do they really?
Really?
Yeah, or
Like, as part of the main
you
story?
can kind of resolve it. It's cool. And I'm not going to say what happens.
Do I need to read The Last Wish first?
But
before
I think that only happened like no, you don't need
It's
to read The Last
it's a
Wish.
good story.
Yeah,
and
it's
not
a good
long.
side story. It's the introduction to Yennefer.
Yeah.
It's a cool little resolution if you've read that short story.
Well, fuck.
And
I
it
want to read the
gets
short
into
story now.
it's like I think it's the first time they also talk about how
But-
Geralt hates portals and shit like
Yeah.
that because he has to go through a bunch of them.
But if you choose Triss, like it's like not satisfying at all. that aspect of it.
Wait,
But
what do you mean choose? I'm not talking about like a binary like a point in the story where you choose one or the other. I'm just talking in general.
no.
Like, I like both of those characters a lot, and I kind of want to, with both.
oh well, they're
You want to
grown-
have your cake and eat
They're
it too.
grown ass women, and
Exactly.
you're a grown ass man. Okay, you're gonna have to.
Thank you, Brad.
You're gonna
right.
have to choose.
you know.
But I'll just say that it story is what is good about that game, and that'll keep you
Dude,
going
it's great.
forward.
I'm doing this-
Gameplay is so fucked. Like I don't care about anything as far as like leveling and stuff goes. I've been tracking down new Witcher gear just so I can have a different looking outfit. But like just to know how fucked the experience system is in that game. I did like this big story sequence, which was pretty much all just cutscenes, and like at the tail end of it, I went up like 5 levels.
I just want you to know
From
I think
cutscenes.
it's funny that you're bringing that up now because I remember during the first show we ever talked about this where we had Mike on and Mike was thrilled and y'all were all still very much in that honeymoon phase with The Witcher 3 and I brought up how fucking annoyed and just dissatisfied I was with the experience level system in this game and people were treating me like I was shitting on the next coming of Jesus or something. It's funny. Like after you've played the game for a long time and it's sunk in, like I think everybody, not everybody, I don't want to speak for everybody, but most people will probably come to the same.
So
Yeah.
That's not a good leveling system.
It's not great.
No, it's bad.
what is your goal here? Are you trying to beat it before Metal Gear comes out?
Fuck yes, I have to beat it before Metal Gear comes out.
Do you actually think you can accomplish that goal?
Yeah,
No way.
definitely.
Where are you in the main story? How much side stuff are you doing?
A lot.
There's some really good side stuff.
I'm doing all of the contracts because those are great.
I would ignore everything and just focus on the story if you want to beat it by Metal Gear.
Hey,
Did you
I
finish
can
it?
manage my own
You
time,
finished
Chris
it?
Davis.
No, I've given up. There's no way. There's no way.
You've given up. You don't have to
There's
give
no
up
way.
on anything.
You
I have
are
no
doing
time.
it wrong if you're giving up. Anyways, we
Yeah,
have one more game
I'm
to talk
making
about.
these things.
sorry.
We have one more game to
What
talk
game
about.
is that?
Let's roll right into it.
Do you guys want to hear about King's
Fuck
Quest?
yeah, I played this at E3.
I heard
That's about
I hear it's
Quest.
about a fantastic
Quest.
dweeb.
Hear about King's Quest?
I played this at E3.
It
pretty good.
is.
When you're playing this, you have such a delightful look on your face.
He doesn't even have his camera on when he's
He's got the
playing it.
camera on. What, you just imagining me sitting there like...
Wait,
He doesn't
then
have
what
a
was I saying?
PlayStation camera.
Oh my god. Chris
What?
Davis.
Well, I feel like a fucking moron.
Well, the playable character has a delightful
Did you
look on
print
his
out a
face
picture of me and stick it on your TV? It's just like...
of him smiling.
No, you see, you have your vent right above your TV, and that's
Chris
where
is
the
actually
camera
watching
is.
behind the vent.
I'm in your closet watching you play.
Oh my god.
You look.
Oh my
like
god,
it.
Chris
It's
Davis.
like Chris Davis.
Chris
He
Davis
looks
is ceiling cat.
Oh my god.
I mean, it all makes sense, doesn't it?
Good luck sleeping tonight.
Someone Photoshop that right now.
Oh,
my
it's
God.
Ceiling Chris.
Probably already been-
Ceiling Chris.
Masturbating to Chris playing Dragon's Dogma, whatever the fuck this game is.
Dragon's Dog.
King's Quest,
King's
you
Quest,
tool.
sorry.
This is nothing like Dragon's Dogma, to be totally honest. Let's play that footage. Roll that footage.
I gotta find it. There
Oh,
it is.
God.
Nice, PMP. So, I would like to start by saying that King's Quest is both charming and delightful.
That's what I came to that same conclusion after about 10 minutes of playing.
It is really fun. I mean, not again, but you're definitely gonna have to be into like the sort of action story games, like the adventure games. Like you're gonna have to kind of come to terms with that right off, because I know, Brad, you were saying, I don't know, is this worth
Well,
it?
here,
Blah, blah,
you
blah.
you talk about this game, and then I'll ask my question and see if it's for me.
I feel like there's more in terms of like actual control and gameplay in this game than in a lot of adventure games that we've been playing lately.
Especially like
Yeah, there was
Like-
footage
like
of
a
you
lot
shooting a
of
bow
those
and arrow. I was
Telltale.
like, what?
What
Yeah,
if, what
and-
if I
and
told you...
that mechanic isn't super deep or anything.
Yeah.
It is very contextual, and you're just shooting at like specific targets. It's like just get it kind of close to the target, and we'll give it to you. But it keeps the action moving forward, and it keeps you kind of engaged in what's going on. And on top of that, the storytelling is very, very light, very cartoony, and a lot of like the animation goes along with that.
Voice
So-
acting was pretty good too.
yeah, it's wonderful, and like the story is just like this kind of light, medieval adventure story about protagonist whose name
About unnamed
Red
protagonist.
Cloak Man.
Yeah.
whose name I have.
It-
Best character of the year,
The-
Red Cloak Doofus.
fucking
Red
King,
Cloak dude from King's
King
Quest. The King.
God, I can't remember his name.
King Quest.
But the whole
King
game,
Quest, Mr.
the whole
Quest.
game is him like telling the story of like his rise to his granddaughter. So Christopher Lloyd's actually narrating all this shit while you're playing it. So that's kind of cool.
Who's Christopher
but-
Lloyd again?
Does he ever say
Doc
great?
Brown.
Yeah.
like
Back to
Graham,
the
thank you,
future?
King Graham.
Okay.
God damn.
You had this look on your face.
You know, and
Doc
there's all
Brown.
these cartoony little sequences where it's like, oh
Yeah.
no, dragon's coming, gotta hide in the bed. Like,
Hide in the
but,
bed.
yeah, there's beds all over this dragon's lair because he keeps stealing them
What?
for some reason.
That's charming already.
It's
I'll
like
take
all
it.
the bridges are made out of beds.
His name is Graham. Prince of the
Yes.
Universe says his name is.
His name is Graham.
Is it King Graham?
Well, eventually. Right now he's just
Foreshadowing.
a lowly squire.
But the cool thing I look at when I see this is that I think of like a Telltale game.
Yeah.
And Telltale games, I mean, they're good, they're entertaining, they're well written for the most
First
part.
and foremost, the
but-
animation in this game is way better
Oh
than
no!
any
there's-
Telltale game I've ever played.
Yeah, no,
Like-
the
Which is
animation's great.
Yeah, like I've been playing Game of Thrones, and that shit's starting to look fucking rough. And
But
this is wonderful.
But the thing about a Telltale game versus this is that Telltale, it's got a formula to it. It's hub areas that you explore, you talk to characters, and then in between that you have these rail sequences
Well, yeah, dude.
where you
Moving,
have limited
moving a
action that you
character.
do.
Moving a character in a
But
Telltale
you're-
game
you're
is not
actively-
intuitive.
Oh
You're
my
actively
god.
exploring in this.
There is less in the way of like, because it seems like Telltale advances their plot and focuses a lot of their gameplay on conversations. So especially like in a Walking Dead, you spend a lot of time talking to people. You do spend a decent amount of time talking to other characters in this game, but that is not the main focus here. Like you are solving more puzzles and like trying to find this item to give to this character so that he'll give you this item so that you can take, this obstacle out of the way so that you can find this, kind of stuff. Which I feel like Telltale games have kind of gotten away from in favor of just more talking and
Okay, so
exposition.
what if I told you that the only thing I like about the Telltale games is when you're not playing it, when you're just doing like dialogue choices and stuff?
There is still a lot of that here, and like for instance, later in the game, you go to enter a tournament, and a big part, like the first exam of the tournament, is you have to go around and talk to other competitors, and then you have to answer like a quiz about what they've told you about their lives, basically.
I
And
don't even like walking to the person to talk to them.
Then you're gonna hate this game.
But maybe it's because they walk so slow in
Brad,
Telltale
you're gonna
games.
hate this game.
Don't
Brad,
say
you're
that.
gonna hate this game. Just fucking forget it. If you're having this much trouble, like, convincing yourself to get into it, don't fucking worry about it.
But
It's a fun game, and I love it. And I think if you actually took the time to check it out, you might enjoy it too. But if you're gonna be a little bitch about it,
you're not hearing me. Walking Dead Season 1 was one of my favorite games of like recent memory.
yeah.
But was that
This
for
is-
the
I mean,
gameplay aspects, or was
with
that for the
the-
I
run?
don't know.
With the
But, like,
exception of the fact
You don't
that
have
these
it-
are both in the same genre, like these are completely
Guys, there's only one way to find out.
experiences.
There's only one way to find out if Brad's gonna like this game.
In fact,
Is to make sure he plays it.
playing this game has made me realize that. Do you remember? Okay, so we all loved Walking Dead Season 1. Those of us that played Walking Dead Season 2 seem to be really into it. We were really excited about
I
Game of
never
Thrones.
finished season 2. Holy crap.
We were really excited about Game of Thrones when that was coming out because it was this whole thing of like, whoa, these really serious high-stake worlds and you have to make these decisions with these characters and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I am fucking over that. I am so fucking over that shit.
I was over
Like,
with the game with the wolf dude.
These fun, like, kind of lighthearted adventure games, like, I feel like there's a reason why all adventure games used to be like this. Because they're
Yeah.
actually entertaining and they're fun. And it seems like less of a chore playing 6 hours of this than it does playing Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I that's the reason I stopped
of
playing
the-
season 2 of The Walking Dead. I
of
just
the
started
like 4 or 5 adventure game series I'm playing right now, 2 of them are comedies. This one and Tales of the Borderland, and they are by far way more enjoyable than the other ones.
But so Broken Age, that's a lighthearted adventure game.
Sure.
But that's another one where when I'm playing it, I want to die. But like, you know, when he's just like talking to someone and it's just dialogue and you know, he's looking at all the different cereal boxes and that's fucking hilarious. But when it's like you got to walk to the other end of the fucking ship because you're looking for some fucking
But yeah,
item because you
the
don't know.
difference is
Well,
you're
there-
doing actual
this-
like puzzle
yeah,
like
this-
like,
Later on, this is pretty linear because this is the intro to the game. The actual like story area that I was in after this was this large area of interconnected spaces that you had to do a lot of walking around and finding things and talking to different people
But-
and fetching, you know, this thing. Like, again, it's a lot of those puzzles of like point A to point B, point C to point D, like find this item to go to this place to do this. So you're doing a lot of that stuff.
But
But the game is so charming and it's so entertaining that you want to.
Which is what they said about like, you know, Monkey's Island
sure.
and King's Quest back in the day.
But Brad,
Back-
you have to
couldn't do
realize
those.
that those games, those are point and click adventure games. They're not
is this.
going. No, you're walking around
Yeah,
environment.
you're actually
You have
using like the
limited-
control stick to move around. It's not as like they don't ever give you a fucking cursor or anything where you're just like go over there.
Sure, but like,
In a
but
point-and-click-
structurally, it is still a very similar type of game.
Yeah.
Structurally, yes, but in a point and click adventure, you are clicking around the screen just to find out what the hell you can interact with. In this, you're actively exploring an environment and finding things.
All right, here's an important question. How much is this game?
Well,
the whole season, 5 episodes, is like $40, I think.
Okay. First episode
But
is what?
the
$10.
first episode's 6 hours.
Okay.
It's like
substantial.
And it's
they
available
are
on,
they're pretty beefy. Like
it's
you're
available on
getting-
Steam, right?
Yes, I think so.
Then I think
got this on.
we've solved our problem.
I'm playing
because
this on PlayStation.
I would consider picking this up, and if I share it with Brad, I'll buy it on Steam so Brad can try it.
But we're not we're not Steam friends.
We will be, Brad. I don't know why we're not Steam friends. What is up with that?
I don't know.
I think I'm not even certain we're Steam friends.
I know that's.
I just
that was intentional.
The thing is, you're right, dude. Like the presentation, the story, like it just seems like right up my alley. Like I'd really enjoy it.
Dude,
But
I
I'm
think you would.
terrified.
I think you
I'm
would.
terrified that like you know, I also started playing Life is Strange episode 2 this past week, and like I make Malia play all these games. Like, you know, one of the reasons I think I may have been enjoying some of these Telltale games, like the Walking Dead games, is because I make Malia play them. Because I don't
you want to enjoy them without having
walking
to do
around
anything.
and like clicking on like oh, let's pick up like 14 different things in this girl's dormitory
Look,
room.
he pulls out a bow and arrow while moving on a raft and he
Sure,
gets to shoot
sure.
shit.
But this is sort of a little one-off thing, right? The sort for us riding down the river.
You'll have moments pretty much catered to the story throughout the whole thing. So there's a lot of different stuff that you're doing. Actually, having played through this opening mission again, after playing what I had played of episode 1, the writing is really smart. Like they tie in these different events and these different characters in ways that like you don't really realize playing through one time. It's kind of rewarding to go back and play it again.
That's cool.
And they actually make like there are. So, you know, in Telltale, they'll have these choices that affect the outcome of the story, and those choices are always, like, these dialogue options or, like, maybe these set-piece action moments where it's, like, how you talk to Cersei in episode 1 depends on if she's pissed off at you in episode 3, which she always is pissed off, so
God,
yes.
you're so right. I don't care about any of those characters.
Like, yeah.
On the show, either.
But then there's actually a big choice coming up here where you can do things that will, like, kind of... It seems like will kind of affect
I saw you
pretty
do it.
substantial things.
I saw you do it.
Yeah, like in a moment he's running away and the dragon is attacking him and you have a choice. You can shoot 3 different objects in the environment. You can shoot a bell to distract him. You can shoot his one good eye to blind him, or you can shoot the thing that's holding his leash and it'll let him go. And if you let him go, he'll just be like, "Oh, thanks," and leave.
I would have done that.
So I haven't seen how that pays off yet. I'm not even done with episode 1 yet, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be finishing that tomorrow night when I play at 8 o'clock. So if you want to see how that ends, come check that out. I'm really fucking into this.
I'm really thinking about playing it too. It looks cool.
Do they
Brad,
have?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play it. You can play my cop. You can play my Steam game. I will share it with you, and we will put this to rest. We will find out whether or not Brad enjoys.
I'm
King's Quest.
hesitant to even start Tales of the Borderlands. As much as this guy is praising it just because
it's fun.
this type of game. You know what
Watch
I
it on
love
YouTube.
about Tim Schafer is because this man had this history of making these brilliant point-and-click adventure games like Grim Fandango, like Full Throttle, like you know, like Day of the Tentacle and stuff. Like these, which games that have these great spirit and writing and characters and they're memorable and they're light and they're funny and they're wonderful. But like I couldn't play those games. And then he made Psychonauts that had all the great traits of those old school adventure games. Great characters,
And an
atmosphere,
actual
writing.
video game.
It was funny, but he made a fucking video game that I really enjoyed. A really creative platformer. Does this game have enough gameplay to make it feel not like one of those old...
It has enough to make it feel distinctive from a lot of the point-and-click games that are
It's
out
like a
here right
YouTube
now.
series called "Does Brad Hate It?"
It has enough action and enough engagement to make it stand out from a lot of these adventure games that are popular right now. Does it have enough to meet your obscure requirements? I have
They're
no
not
idea.
obscure.
I don't
Brad.
know. I don't know what you want.
Alright,
though.
we're-
Like I feel like I'm gonna say yes. Go play this because it's a delightful game, and you're gonna play and be like, I don't know. That was a lot of walking. Like I don't. You
All right,
fucking want.
we've got to move on. We have to cut the break. Brad, I will play this so you can play mine.
Okay,
we will
okay,
put this
okay,
to rest.
okay.
And if you don't like it, we just shut up. We don't want to hear about it. Okay. But if you do, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on a later episode. But we have to take a break. During the break, guys, we are going to play the first half of our Batman Arkham Knight review. I know it's a little bit late, but we've been working on this new video review structure, and I hope you guys like it. It's exclusive on the site at 4playernetwork.com right now until tomorrow at noon, in which case we'll release it on YouTube. We're going to play the first half of it now. If you want to see the second half, which is going to include, I believe, Brad and Crispy's take on the game, along with our final score, our final aggregate score of the game, if you will, you'll have to check out the video on 4playernetwork.com. But anyways, we're going to take a quick break, stand up, move our legs, whatever, and you can watch the video. And then we'll be back to talk about Gamescom and all that cool shit that happened today. Yeah. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Woo. Sure.
I'll take that as a yes.
Sure.
Welcome back to the show. As I said at the end of the last segment, we're going to talk about Gamescom, because a lot of stuff happened at Gamescom. And there's a few other small news topics that I'm sure we'll just kind of bring up at the end, but I figured we would just jump straight into our thoughts concerning a lot of these major game. I don't want to say announcements, because none of these were really announcements, with the exception of one. A lot of these were just seeing extensive amounts of gameplay for the first time, or, you know,
This was E3 Part 2, kind of.
this was kind of like E3 Part 2. Some of these games we'd already seen demonstrations of, but we saw more demonstrations here. And then sometimes for some games, like I think the game that I think we should probably start with, because I know Brad's just dying to talk about it, is a game that we haven't seen since E3 last year, which is, of course, Scalebound. Brad, take it away.
Yeah, this is the new Hideki Kamiya game. You know who Hideki Kamiya is at
Who
this point.
is Hideki Kamiya?
If you listen to this podcast, you know he's like one of my favorite mans.
I don't know who that is, but he sounds like a chump.
He's
One of your
a
favorite
Twitter
men.
dude. You might know him from Twitter.
He's a Twitter guy.
He's the one who blocks everyone.
Everyone.
He is the man who I consider to have like maybe the most perfect track record as far as like the games he's directed, meaning that he's never made a sequel to one of his games. He always comes up with something new, with the exception of his first game, which was Resident Evil 2.
Which is pretty bizarre in today's...
Which Resident Evil 2, by the way, may be the best classic Resident Evil. And then he goes on to make new IP after new IP after new IP after new IP, and they're always either amazing or revolutionary
or some
just
variation of Dante from Devil May Cry.
perfection of a genre. And now with Scalebound, he's moving on to more or less a new genre that he's not worked on before, and this genre being
Monster Hunter clone?
Action or it's not a Monster Hunter. You know what? It's kind of like Monster Hunter meets The Last Guardian.
Definitely.
Because except in this version of Last Guardian, your guardian is a big giant fire breathing dragon that you can ride around on.
And you play as the EDM DJ right there?
And you play as a dude who's a lot like Dante in terms of his attitude, which
And character design.
Kamiya
And,
likes this type of very cocky, arrogant, capable character, I imagine.
I would imagine so.
But I guess the twist is this is an RPG. Yeah,
So
it's open.
that's something right there that I was kind of shocked about. Brad, how prepared were you? How prepared were you to find out this was an RPG? Like, did you anticipate that at all?
It was strongly, or it was rumored / hinted that this was going to possibly be an action RPG.
Man, 'cause when I first saw that first trailer, I never would have guessed it was an RPG.
Well, we didn't know what it was. I mean, we
Couldn't
knew
tell what the hell it was.
Yeah, we knew that there was going to be this dragon component to some extent. We saw him kind of fighting along with them, fighting other big giant monsters. We saw him riding the dragon. We also saw him like kind of switching weapons, and he has this little double trigger like style form or whatever, which he does in this footage. And so yeah, it kind of looks like Xenoblade, kind of these big, huge kind of alien environments with interesting topography and whatnot. And if you look up in the skybox, there's like floating islands out there, which I imagine you're just going to be able to go to because hey, you have a dragon.
Can you just jump on your dragon and fly to those seamlessly without
mean,
loading screens? 'Cause that
ima-
would be fucking amazing.
I imagine possibly.
I doubt you're going to be able to, see a place and go to it. With
Why
your
though?
dragon.
Why would you
Why
doubt
though?
that?
Think about
World scaling?
Well, I just feel like that's something that
but
was.
think about his last couple of games, like something like Bayonetta, which is a game with like incredible scale, where you see these bosses and like you see like floating platforms way off in the distance, and you're like, I'm not gonna be able to go there. I'm not gonna be able to jump and climb around on this boss, but you can. And when you saw that stuff for the first time,
those are still pretty linear spaces, though. Like you're going from one platform to the next to advance the actual gameplay. It's not like an open world.
But
Yeah,
I
and
know.
they also-
But I'm saying what I'm saying with that game and the wonderful 101 which you played
Yes.
is that like he's been getting pretty crazy as far as scale goes. Sure. And I don't think that I think it's a play on words to maybe call this that they're calling it Scalebound. I think this is maybe the culmination of that scale, and you're gonna see not just these big monsters. You're gonna see these big open spaces. As
I think that's a little hopeful.
I also feel like having like the limitation of not being able to traverse open worlds like freely like that. Remember there was a time before Skyward Sword came out where there was actually a question. It's like, will you be able to just jump on your bird and like fly down?
Yeah.
Of course, that didn't pan out that way, but we were already talking about the possibility of this happening and this being kind of a gameplay conceit back then. So, and that was last generation. Like they've already
last generation.
Like, yeah, that's 2 generations ago. Like at this point, it's like the tech is so advanced, and we're still kind of just scratching the surface of what can be done with it. It's you gotta imagine like there's gonna be some pretty amazing stuff being done.
I'm certain that there can be. I'm looking at this and I'm wondering. They're demonstrating nothing but on-ground combat. They haven't demonstrated.
Yeah, but this game is very early.
No, I get that. This is a 2016, 2017 game easily, but they haven't demonstrated, doing anything on top of your dragon.
Because they're probably not ready to show that yet.
That's what I'm guessing.
They're only hinting at like co-op here. I think it's a little early to expect.
They just showed
going
like
anywhere.
A co-op player.
No,
drop into your game.
confirmed 4-player
That's not a
co-op.
hint.
It's confirmed.
Yeah.
No, they're hinting at the possibility of what co-op could be. That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
I'm not.
Sure, but like this is still very early. Like there is an extended demo out there.
Yeah.
We are aware.
Man, fuck you, Microsoft. $349. I'm sorry.
I mean, have you watched the extended demo?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like there's several minutes after kind of where it ended in this footage that you're seeing now, where it's just kind of him kind of like walking around an environment, and the stuff you see there is like lootable corpses. Like you could see it like the way they're like highlighted, and there's a button prompt that shows up. This is an RPG, and what's the last RPG you've seen that wasn't open? Like this is gonna be an open world game because that's what the genre is.
I expect it to be, but I'm just saying keep your expectations in check.
Well, you say that, but we are talking about the man who has never made a bad game.
Yeah.
The man.
His track record is Resident Evil 2,
Brad,
the original Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, Bayonetta, The Wonderful One, Okami, The Wonderful 101.
Brad,
he doesn't make bad games.
I completely agree with you there. I completely understand that. I'm saying that are you implying that because you could potentially not fly to these sky islands that are off in the distance in the map that it's going to be a bad game? Because what I'm implying here is that this game may be focused primarily on the ground. You may not get to fly your dragon a whole lot and go explore these other environments that you see off in the distance. That's a bad game. I'm not saying that at all.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying I think that's going to happen because every time they've shown this game, every cinematic has him riding, flying the dragon.
Been two.
No, I know, but like in that first cinematic trailer, he's not just riding it. He is like going to like it's suggesting that he's going to be fighting while on the back of the dragon. That's what is happening in that cinematic.
I think what Brad is saying is that they've established that like the whole dragon riding thing is pretty central to this character. Like in everything we've seen, that's like what he's
there is
doing.
no way that they're going to make a dragon riding dude who only rides a dragon in cutscenes, not fucking Kamiya. Because you know what Kamiya does? He takes the shit that you see in other games. You see Kratos do all this amazing shit in fucking QuickTime events, and then he makes Bayonetta. He's like, you know what? We're gonna do that shit, but it's gonna be fucking gameplay. And I don't believe that Kamiya is gonna make a game where you only ride a dragon in a fucking cutscene. Like, it's gonna happen. But this game, they said holiday 2016, and that's just like the first date. This is a world of many delays. If we're lucky, we're gonna get this game in about a year and a half. So like, it makes sense that they're not ready to show that kind of stuff yet, because that's probably the craziest shit that this game is doing. So I'm not.
That sounds like an E3 thing.
I'm not worried. If there's anybody I think you don't have to worry about, it's Kamiya. Because even when Platinum Games, isn't like Kamiya directed games, they still do some crazy shit. Metal Gear Rising, experimented with some really crazy tech. Even Anarchy Reigns did stuff in multiplayer.
What about
that you
Star
didn't
Fox?
see other games. Well, who knows with Star Fox? But we'll see. I'm confident that we're going to see some cool stuff even in Star Fox, because that's what Platinum Games does.
Dude,
that's not directed by
Have you
Kamiya,
played
right?
Vanquish?
That's not directed by Kamiya, right?
No. I mean, This is the only thing being worked on by Kamiya.
But your R-Wing in Star Fox turns into a robot. It's just a robot, like chicken.
I don't know what's going to happen with Star Fox.
Anyways, the game looks really cool. I'm very excited.
It does. I'm just saying.
I
keep your
actually having
expectations in
seen
check.
gameplay. I'm ready to like start getting excited about this.
If we call
This
these
looks cool.
kaijus, would you be more excited? There.
It doesn't fucking matter.
That's
I know.
messed up. Okay, anyways, there's still plenty more to talk about. That, of course, was Scalebound. And for those asking in chat, yes, there is an extended look. There's an extended gameplay video out there. We decided not to use that because obviously that is an IGN exclusive right now. So that's why we didn't show that. But it is out there for you to see. I'd recommend checking it out because it does look pretty cool. What do y'all want to talk about next?
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls 3.
Dark Souls 3.
We don't have a video for that, right?
Yes,
Oh, we
we
don't?
do.
Oh,
we do?
We do have the trailers.
Dark
We
Souls.
do.
Oh, this is old
You
news
doubt
for
me? You doubt me?
Dark Souls 2. I don't doubt you.
Dark Souls 3.
But this is old news for me. This is old hat.
Dark Souls
Old hat?
2.
I've seen like 30 minutes of this.
Dark,
game.
Shut up.
Dark Souls sequel 2.
Oh, God damn it, Brad.
Oh, that's sorry, Nick.
I was so mad. Why are our heads cut off? That was weird.
Why are your heads cut off? Oh, wait.
Oh, man. All right, Dark Souls 3. Brad.
It's a video game.
Don't ask me. Ask Chris.
Look, it's the dark side.
Or ask me. I have seen this
It's
game.
the dark side.
I don't know what that means. I haven't finished Dark Souls yet.
Okay, so in Dark Souls 1, you had an item that was called the dark sign, and it was like, it's the sign of the curse. And that was the item that you could use to drop all your souls and go back to the last bonfire you rested at.
Yeah.
You have it. You've seen it.
I do. I haven't used it.
I remember in the opening cutscenes they talk about the accursed dark sign.
So wait, there's lore? Wow.
Dude, go fuck yourself, Mr. Oh my god.
Chris Davis.
Mr. Highly Anticipated Game of the Year is Doom. And you want to talk about fucking lore. I hope you die. I hope you die.
Tense. That's dense.
This right here. That shit is what I'm excited about.
So,
they have
building
like,
bonfires,
The
that's a
fucking
cool idea.
bonfires.
That's
are
a cool
like,
idea.
Yeah, so like I guess now the bonfire is going to be a bit more mobile.
Fluid?
Yeah. So what were we talking about before? There was some mechanic where you could like build a bonfire like on corpses or something.
Ask Brad here. He saw it. I didn't.
Something to that effect. They
Brad
didn't
saw
actually
this
do that in the
behind-
footage I saw, but
Okay. Look at that guy.
To be
Oh
clear,
my god.
Brad saw the 30-minute Dark Souls demo at E3, and I didn't.
sorry, Nick.
I didn't see it either.
We got screwed over. Sorry, but
Damn you.
You know what?
I saw him fight this boss in the footage.
Jack in chat is correct. This does look like any other Souls game, which is awesome because Souls games are great, and I can't wait. It does really though.
I will be honest though.
It does just look like Dark Souls.
It does look,
Like-
actually when they were first showing this today. I ended up I was at work and I ended up tuning into the in the middle of the broadcast and right in the middle of the Dark Souls footage and I was like, is this Bloodborne DLC? But this is a Microsoft press conference. What is happening? I was like, oh, this is Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've still got a lot of the like cathedral.
But hey, that's cool.
motifs.
I'm a Dark Souls newbie right now. I'm playing the first one right now for the first time, so consider me excited. I'm trying to get through the first two just so I can play this one. So I'm obviously excited for it.
I'm not really close to Souls fatigue yet.
It's
like
hard.
I love these games so much, man.
It's easy to get
so
Souls
good.
fatigue when you're kind of thinking about it. I feel like, maybe even seeing footage. But when you play a Souls game, since every world is so fucking handcrafted,
They put a lot of thought into the design of. I mean, maybe 2 is a little. Everyone gives 2 shit for being like the inferior Souls game.
It's a great
but
game.
even that, it's still a great game.
yeah.
And there's still a lot of interesting stuff in there that isn't in any of the other Souls games. I don't know, man. I think these games are so dense and there's so many little secrets and there's going to be stuff that people are like finding in Dark Souls 2 and like Bloodborne that haven't been found yet. For years to come, it seems like, So the prospect of a new Souls game, another just kind of dense game to dig through and find new stuff in, is exciting.
it's exciting in a way
It's hard to get excited about them when they keep coming out, and you don't really like. These aren't
They don't
games
give you
that
time to breathe.
these aren't games that you really know a lot about going into generally, or if you're like me, you don't really want to know a lot about going into them. So it's a little hard to work on the whole hype. But God, I can't wait to play a new Souls game.
Why does it work for Souls? But why
Why
are we
does-
confident that
a new Souls game will be good?
that potentially annualized Souls games could be okay, but not
I mean,
like Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed.
I wouldn't say that I would choose for Dark Souls to become annualized. Like that's not a thing.
I mean, it's happened.
Okay.
I mean,
but But this is the last Dark Souls that they're gonna do.
They
So
say.
I mean, they said they're gonna. They said that this is the end. They were doing Dark Souls as a trilogy, and this is gonna be the last one. They might do something similar to it, but we don't know what the plan going forward is. You know, we don't really know.
these are talented people, and
They know what they're
it
doing.
would be a fucking waste if they just kept making this game. And I'm gonna wrap Bloodborne into it. You know,
we need
because
I'd like to see at least one more Bloodborne game. We could probably stop the footage.
I think you're right. Like I think. This is definitely not something that I want to see them drive into the ground, you know? But I would like to believe that these people who are in charge of deciding whether or not a new Dark Souls gets made are responsible enough to understand that, you know? They're not... I don't think they're going to...
I think they should
I don't think they're going to go Activision Call of Duty overboard.
You know,
No.
I think I think another one last Dark Souls game and maybe one more Bloodborne game would be appropriate, but at the same time, like, I think that'd be fine. But it'd also be really, really cool just to see what would happen if From Software was like, we're going to make a totally new IP.
Sure.
yeah.
Or if we
That would be
actually
wonderful.
they made
But-
new fucking front.
And when they
But-
say new IP, don't mean
Yeah, I mean
Bloodborne.
like something totally
like an actually new IP.
like something
Yeah.
totally different from the Souls games because
Yeah.
Bloodborne is a Souls game through and through. But at the same time, I kind of don't want that until I get at least one more Bloodborne game and one more Dark Souls game. That's just me. I don't know.
What? I mean,
I don't know. I'm just.
Well, one more Dark Souls game, including 3.
Well, yeah. So like, let's get 3, and I want to get one more.
sci-fi
Bloodborne.
maybe.
I want to see how Bloodborne evolves from where
Dude,
it
if
was.
From Software did a sci-fi RPG, that would be amazing. If they went back to the idea of mechs, like did something different than Armored Core, but like still in that like kind of mech sci-fi universe, that would be incredible.
that's what I was telling.
What if it
Crispy.
was still like a Souls game, but it took place in sci-fi?
Yes, that's what
That
I'm
would
saying.
be incredible.
What I was telling Crispy before the podcast is one of the reasons Cyberpunk from CD Projekt Red is so exciting is because we are going to see a sci-fi RPG from the dudes who make The Witcher.
Yeah.
And
But they're
that's
not-
exciting
but-
because it's such a dramatically different setting.
Apparently,
But they're
there's
not even
a,
going to start talking about that until 2017.
apparently there's a pretty less than subtle cyberpunk Easter egg in.
Oh no, I've
Witcher
seen
3.
it.
Have you
I've
guys
seen
seen
it.
that?
Well,
I don't wanna
it's
like
not.
that.
It's
People are speculating that it's related to cyberpunk. I guess.
no. It's a. I mean,
Okay.
how much do you know about Ciri's abilities, powers?
I mean, I know that she can like travel between realms and shit like that.
More than just realms.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
does
like
she,
universes. Like
Yes.
yeah.
oh my God! Does Siri travel to?
She like talks about being in some weird place, and she like describes some things that sound like she was in a sci-fi
Yes,
universe.
it is.
Yeah.
She could very possibly show up as like a cameo, like Easter egg in Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
That would be really cool.
Yes,
That's crazy.
It would be fucking rad.
Meets
It would
up
be
with
rad.
Elizabeth, goes to Paris, lives happily ever
Yeah.
after.
All right. What else do we have? Let's talk about Crackdown real quick. Do we have
Talk about
footage? We don't have a whole lot to
Crackdown.
talk about with Crackdown because the trailer was not
I'm a jelly dwarf.
that insightful, I guess. And it was a lot of over-the-shoulder kind of off-screen footage. That
It was
we
a
were seeing.
dev diary, Nick.
It was
guess
Dev
it was a
Diary.
Dev Diary.
It felt a lot like what they did for EA at the press conference last year.
It's
and-
what you do when your frame rate's not quite up to snuff or whatever the fuck.
When
I don't know.
you don't have a game you can actually play in front
Yeah.
of people yet.
Yeah, so... But one thing that I was totally caught off guard by with the Crackdown 3 thing is that it's an online-only game.
We don't. No, it's not an online. Well,
Does it require you to be online to play?
so there's some confusion as to whether there's these big, huge, destructible environments, right?
Yes.
These destructible buildings, but they're destructible because of the cloud. All right. So like the only reason that they can fall apart in all these crazy ways, the way they do, is because they are connected to the magical cloud.
They have to
which,
rely on
yes, of
processing.
course, means you have to be online. But from what I understand, what I've been hearing, or what I've heard, or I know there's some confusion, is that the destructible environments are only in multiplayer.
See, that sounds even lamer.
See, I don't even know about that.
So, okay, this is all speculative. Like, none of this has really been confirmed yet. But the trailers seem to indicate.
Before they start talking about multiplayer, which they are going to do right now, you don't see anything blow up. You see him jumping from, like, shooting monsters or whatever the fuck, robots. You see him jumping around, but they don't destroy anything. It's when
they're also not showing anything at all.
But they specifically say a unique multiplayer mode, and that's when they start talking about destruction.
Yeah, but the thing about Crackdown is that from 1 to 2 and now 3 is that one of the biggest parts of the game was multiplayer co-op.
Well, co-op, sure, but I'm talking about campaign versus
so much so that
multiplayer.
they touted that in Crackdown 2 more than the single player experience. So what's to say that they're not doing that for this?
Well, I mean, it's not even about, like, that'll be there. The question is, will the environment be destructible when you're playing single player?
The reason that I don't think this is going to happen in the single player is because you have a city. And if you've played a Crackdown game, it's hundreds and hundreds of agility orbs littered all over the tops of all of these buildings. If you can blow up the buildings, what happens to that ruins the point. The point of Crackdown is increasing the level of your agility to get to places you couldn't reach before. That completely clashes with the idea.
You don't have to climb a building that you can level.
Yeah.
What was the take on Crackdown 2 as far as agility orbs go? Because I remember the reception of that game being...
The standard agility orbs were okay. The fucking moving agility orbs were a pain in the ass.
Well, sure, but there was only some of those. The big problem with Crackdown 2 is they used the exact same city as the first game. They just, like, added zombies. It's the same fucking city.
Yeah, pretty much.
That game was just kind of a bummer.
So maybe it's a little too early to talk at length. We probably don't need to roll the footage again. I think we've kind of said all we need to say about Crackdown at this point. It's still obviously very early, and this is the first time we've even seen footage of it since it was originally announced. And it seems to me like Microsoft is kind of focused on paving the way for their other projects right now. So who knows when we're even going to get... I know there's like a multiplayer beta, March of next year or something?
Like summer 2016, I think.
Yeah, so... Oh yeah, summer. So that's even farther away. So we'll probably know more about this next E3. I'm guessing.
Well, I would expect earlier than that, but yeah.
I can see it on the cover of a Game Informer before that, maybe. Anyways, what else do we have from Gamescom?
How about that Quantum Break?
Quantum Break.
Break.
I'll be honest. I didn't get to watch this and be like as focused as I wanted to be.
Well, you're about to watch it.
I mean, I was watching it, but I was also doing other things while
it has a Hobbit in it now.
Was he a Hobbit?
No, not him.
Sean Ashmore.
I was like, Sean Ashmore.
And something that is an X-Men.
Oh, wait. You're right.
Carcetti.
Fucking.
Is that
that's
fucking
Littlefinger.
Yes, that's Carcetti from The Wire.
The only person who could stop the end of time.
What?
Shut up, Brad. Anyways, Quantum Breaks. This is the next game from Remedy.
But Daniels from The Wire is also in the show.
This is Quantum Break from Remedy. So this is not Alan Wake 2. I'm not happy. I'm just kidding. What do you think, guys?
I don't know.
It looks pretty fun.
It's a third-person shooter with time mechanics.
Third-person shooter with
Did
time
you
mechanics.
say
I hope
time
there's more.
mechanics?
There's got to be more to it than that. I mean,
Well, there might be time puzzles and shit, and like anytime there's like cutscenes and kind of him walking around a cool, crazy environment with time effects going all fast, that stuff looks cool. But the gameplay, from what I can tell, is a third-person shooter with time mechanics.
But there's also that moment where he goes through a door and he's having this like more narrative-driven moment where he's like seeing stuff play out.
That stuff looks cool.
And I'm just hoping there's more I hope the pacing is right, because I think one thing Alan Wake did really, really well was pacing.
Time mechanics.
Like there's a lot of action in that game, but it was paced beautifully between like these slower set piece moments where it's just like progressing story, hearing dialogue, interacting with characters, just taking in the environment, that kind of stuff.
But look at this. This is an action game.
Well, sure. Of course, for the demo, they're going to show off action sequences.
Yeah, they got it.
Okay.
Like, honestly, people, as much as they want to put it in the game, I don't think people would be as excited about it if they were just showing off those more slower paced moments.
No, I mean, see, I think that's what Remedy thinks. But again, I feel like this whole industry has a history of publishers just assuming that players don't want to play a more like a slower paced, non-fucking action game. And I feel like Remedy has always had the like Alan Wake didn't need to have as much combat in it as it did. It was fine, you know, it worked. I actually kind of liked the way it worked, but you didn't need to be fighting waves and waves of dudes like you did. And I feel like Remedy has a problem with being confident in maybe some of their narrative structure, their slower moments, and they fill their games with maybe way too much action. You know, it made sense for Max Payne.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that one.
Like, hey, you know, I bet this shit is fun to play.
Dude,
but
that time mechanic.
Just the visual design of the time mechanic, just the way light is bending in the environment. That's a fucking selling point right there.
You're right. The visual design, like, look at this when he freezes in the smoke trails, like that shit. This cool. Game looks
that's
really
not just a smoke trail.
Cool.
That's the fucking light going off the guy.
Well, he shot his backpack. And that was the explosion.
Well, there was.
The point is,
those things you
it
guys
looks
are
fucking cool. He's doing something cool every time
Paul knew this was coming.
he does something. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm saying.
It you know, you're right. It does look cool.
So here's that more slower paced moment I was talking about. He's walking down an alley. I don't know what came before this, but you know.
Did you see the part where he goes into like the warehouse and like time is going crazy?
This is it, right? This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what I hope there's more of to like pace out the action sequences. Like obviously Remedy always does story stuff really well. Like they did Max Payne, they did
Max Payne.
Did Alan Wake.
I feel like in Max Payne it was all central to what that game was. But I feel like in Alan Wake there was a little bit of a divide between like the slower story moments and just the balls out action. And I feel like in this game, maybe even more than Alan Wake, like this seems so different from what he was just doing.
Sure,
yeah,
sure. So this, I know. So Crispy hasn't seen this yet, and you can't really hear it. But like he's having these like time lapses where he's watching footage of, I guess, a character who is his brother, who is like building the first time machine, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
What? That's awesome.
So here's.
See, I mean, if this is tied into the game like in an actual mechanical fashion, that would be amazing. I hope this isn't just how the cutscenes play out, you know?
I mean, will be. I mean,
no, they've shown stuff that's more interactive, like kind of puzzly stuff.
Yeah.
But why can't you just have a time puzzly game? Have you ever played Braid? That was fucking cool. Why can't this just be Remedy doing a Braid?
PB Winterbottom. But
yes,
dude, travel.
That's fine. It's probably going to be in there in some fashion. But at a press event like this, they're not going to show that.
That's the thing we always tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. And I hope you're right.
Here's the real question.
I hope it's just because it's a press conference.
Why? So are they officially dropping the whole like this is also part of like a TV show? Because there was
no,
that's still on.
That's still there. They show a clip from the TV show, or they show a trailer.
Oh, really?
Yes, Daniels from The Wire is also in it. So you have Carcetti and Daniels. It's like a Wire reunion.
Oh, really?
No,
I must have missed that. Is it animated? Is the TV show animated? Or is it?
No,
it's a full live action show.
It's a live action show.
They showed this during the press conference?
Yes.
They announced this like 2 years ago.
Well, I know they announced it, but I haven't seen the trailer you're talking about yet.
But they're using real actors for this show that have been in good things.
I think the actors that are
and that guy from
that are doing the voice acting in this are doing the acting in the actual show.
Well, that's cool. I don't know. I'm still excited. I just hope the scope, like the idea of having a TV show alongside it, doesn't like they don't try and work it in some really awkward, weird way that like takes away. Like honestly, I want this to just be a standalone product by itself.
Why?
Well, I mean, I want you to have the option of having it be a standalone product and not have. I want the TV show to feel like a nice add-on, a nice supplement to the game itself. Like I don't want it to be like you have to like download an episode of the game and then play the TV show and then go back and play the game.
That doesn't sound cool to you though. I mean, Alan Wake was kind of episodic almost, in its structure, and that worked pretty well.
Sure, it sounds cool, but honestly, just I don't want to get into about retail products
Well,
anymore.
it's supposed to be.
But I don't want this to be a downloadable product because of the fucking TV show.
No, it's not gonna be downloadable.
No, it's going to be a full retail release, but they're going to be. The TV show is a tie-in product. That it's a companion. It's another way to experience this game.
As long as they can do that without like making any, changes to like the way they present the game. Like, I don't want it to be a fucking... Like, I'm just really worried that by trying to shoehorn in a TV show...
No, they're not going to.
It's going to force them to release it as a download as an episodic game.
Last time a game tried to shoehorn in a TV show, the game was terrible and the show still exists. It's called Defiance.
Yeah,
check the Sci-Fi Network.
Yeah.
I know that
isn't the show terrible?
That show stars...
But it's successful.
That show stars Lila from Dexter, by the way.
Brad,
nobody cares.
Nick, you have
Lila
nothing
from season 2.
Yeah.
This is not going to be an episodic
her.
game. You have nothing to worry about with
did
that.
Did Dexter kill her?
Oh yeah. Sorry, spoilers.
For all we know, this could be episodic. We don't really know.
Dude, nobody
If
knows.
it was episodic, they would have said by now.
You are making too many promises, Chris Davis, for something you know nothing about. We know nothing about what this game is actually going to be.
Hot dog bet right now?
I don't make hot dog bets with anybody but Brad.
Yeah.
Fine. What kind of bet do you want? Let's start.
By the way, hot dogs are bad for my
burrito
cholesterol.
bet.
So
burrito bet. Let's do burritos.
Burritos probably also bad for my cholesterol.
Everything's
Large
bad for
pizza
your
bet.
cholesterol.
Yeah, you should see
if
what
it's not like a head of lettuce, it's bad for
Head
your
of
cholesterol.
lettuce bet. Celery bet right now.
You should see what I've been eating for the past
No,
month.
you should do something that'll fuck with your cholesterol because then that gives you incentive to win.
You shut
Yeah.
up. This is my
Win
life
or
on the line
die.
here.
I want to hear a celery bet.
I like celery.
Celery bet,
But
Sure.
only if
A little
I
bit
can
of-
dip it in ranch, which is not good for my cholesterol.
a little bit of peanut butter.
Some raisins.
Anyways,
you don't need
I think we can.
we can kill the footage. I'm just saying, no one really knows anything about what this product actually is or how it's going to be presented, and that's what I'm worried about.
How come I can see like Uncharted, which is a lot of action, but then they have a lot of slower moments.
Sure, I'd be totally fine if
But-
Quantum Break was like an Uncharted.
But how come I
structured
see
game.
Uncharted and it works for me, and I see that, and I see like this
Maybe
divide?
it's because you know Uncharted. And you know that Uncharted does that well.
Yeah,
and
but
you come
the
to
thing
expect
about
that
Alan
from
Wake.
Uncharted.
Okay. Well, okay. You know what? We'll just wait and see on this.
No, Jack,
We'll
we're not
wait
having a Vegemite bet.
And see, oh, blah.
Anyways, what else came out? What else was is worth?
There were a couple things I wasn't able to fit in time into the presentation, but I think the biggest piece of news was the only revealed game, which was Halo Wars 2.
which is not Alien Isolation 2. Therefore, I hate it.
Oh, Alien Isolation came out last year. It's not even a year old,
You do
man.
know
And to
I'm
be fair,
joking.
You
Creative
need to
Assembly.
calm down.
I'm kidding.
Creative Assembly historically makes RTSs. So.
They're doing. They're a 3-team studio now. They're doing Warhammer Total War. They did Alien Isolation. They're probably already on pre-production for that for the sequel.
We hope.
And
They-
they're
we
doing
hope.
Halo
They
Wars
shipped
2.
a Rome game last year too.
And they're own. No, they're a busy studio, and they can fit it into their schedule.
You speaking for them, aren't you?
It's Halo Wars 2, and there is a large portion of the Halo community that's actually very excited about this game.
Which is weird. I thought Halo Wars was just kind of like no one really cared.
No, a lot of people really enjoy it. There was a petition for
I
a
remember
while.
getting that mediocre.
But I mean,
reception,
were
though.
they weird Halo people, or were they like RTS fans?
Okay.
I think it was a. I
think it was a mix of both.
Honestly.
I think it's fair to assume that a lot of those people were coming from the Halo side of things, especially since it was a console exclusive, and RTS guys playing on console.
Well,
What is there for them?
Yeah.
there was plenty back in the PlayStation 1 days. They were porting everything they could, but
I don't.
Sure.
they fucking ported StarCraft and Command and Conquer and
But those
Red
were
Alert.
bad.
And that was
too.
that was a long
And
time
they were
before
terrible.
Wait, they
Halo
never
Wars
ported
2 came out.
StarCraft.
Or Halo Wars.
StarCraft 64.
Oh yeah, that's right. That thing is weird though.
But I've never played Halo Wars. Is it actually good?
It's good.
Does it make sense that they made that
The
game?
control
over,
scheme they built around just the dual analog and the triggers and things like that, it makes sense. It works. It's not.
You're not playing it thinking this is great, but it would be better on PC.
It's not a no. It would be better on PC. Absolutely, it would be. It's not as fast paced because the nature of the analog controls, but it still works out pretty well. So
By the way, it turns out that Audacity has shit the bed and I will need someone to pull the audio from the second segment of the show.
Or, I could
Oh,
actually
that's
provide
fun.
it to you.
Oh, you can pull it from your recording?
That's how I've been doing it.
Wonderful. But I'll need to get that from you later. Fuck you, Audacity.
God
damn
My
it.
fuck you of the week goes to Audacity.
Fuck.
Now it's just a
freeware.
matter of compensation.
If we'd actually pay for software, this wouldn't happen.
That's true. That's probably true.
Yeah.
Maybe we should do that. Anyways,
We got to move on. This is one of
we
our
do.
longer shows.
There is
Yeah.
Pioft in the forum thread actually mentioned something that I completely forgot to bring up, and that's fucking Homefront 2 or Homefront: The Revolution.
Yeah, that was a kind of a surprise. I didn't expect that.
If you look back at
Crisis: Homefront.
if you think back to E3 2 years ago, or no, I can't remember when it was.
It was 2 years ago.
Chris and I went and saw
The Deep Silver presentation
Deep Silver
of
presentation of
Dead Island 2 and Homefront: The
and
Revolution.
both of those games at the time looked like hot garbage.
Well, Dead Island 2 was definitely hot garbage.
No, Homefront 2 was definitely hot
What
garbage.
was hot garbage about Homefront 2?
It was the most bland. Just
It was very bland Homefront.
it was
and
just, it was
Homefront's
riddled
already
with
bland.
it was the demonstration they were doing was riddled with technical
and
difficulties.
they were using, it was so early, they were still using like the Crysis 2 and 3 UI.
I mean, you can't blame technical problems for an early game. You can't. You,
No,
you have to like.
no,
just
but
put it out of your mind.
Their vision for Homefront has definitely evolved since the presentation at E3 because it was a hot mess when we last saw it, and
Yeah.
to the point the people were asking them questions during the presentation. I remember them fumbling with answers and not having really much good to say about, or like they didn't have good answers for the questions that were being posed to them during the demonstration.
And this
that kinda
is
sucked.
Free Radical again, by the way. The guys who made Time Splitters.
Okay.
And then they also made Haze.
That was a long time.
I thought this was Crytek.
No, Crytek UK.
This is the
which
this
is Free Radical.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This
You're
is
right,
the
right, right.
this is the Crytek engine, the Cry engine.
Yeah.
But it's not Crytek anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The what they showed today looked significantly better.
It looked muddy as fuck, and there
It was muddy.
barely any gameplay.
Pretty much the same people who made GoldenEye are making Homefront 2. Why are they making another Homefront game? Why is that
I don't-
Because
something?
Deep Silver saw the money in it.
Money in Homefront?
Dude, Homefront
Yeah.
had a Homefront sold like hotcakes.
Why?
Homefront it did sell because number one, it's a different premise for a traditional military FPS. Okay. And number two, it's a name. Shut the fuck up. It's a name. It's a name that the publishers and developers, and more importantly, the public, are actually familiar with.
I know, you're right. Like an existing IP always does better than a new IP, even if it's, lame. I mean, that's true, because you don't have to sell people on a new thing.
You've already got this. You've already got a lot of the pre-production ready to go. You've already got a lot of the art. You got
That
a lot
apparently
of
did not
things.
speed up their process any better because the game basically went away for 2 years and looks like it was practically redone. Or
I don't think
pretty
it was
redone.
redone.
Not
I think they
but
just
it was-
finally got to the point
The
where
it's
it's
twist
pretty
is
starting to
you're
show it.
killing Koreans? What is...
The idea is that
It was Koreans the last time.
over the course of like 15, 20 years, North Korea becomes this like global superpower and crashes the American economy, invades the country, and is trying to rule the world.
The freedom fighters.
It's Freedom Fighters,
Red Dawn,
but lame.
guys.
It's Red Dawn.
It's
Which
Red
one's Red
Dawn
Dawn?
because it was written by the guy who wrote Red Dawn.
It was?
Yeah.
Yes.
The first one
It
was.
is Red Dawn. That's all
Red,
it is.
Red Dawn doesn't hold up.
No, the
probably
first
not.
game was written by the
It's
Red
no
Dawn guy.
Roadhouse.
It's no Running Man. It's
I don't
no
know.
Running
it's-
Man.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring it up because they did show it off.
It'd be nice if they showed off more than just 45 seconds of gameplay footage,
Yeah, that's true.
which was literally 90% of it riding on a dirt bike, which was kind of cool, going up and around inside buildings, and it almost kind of reminded me of Trials in a way. But
I mean, he was like,
and then he uses an IED on an RC car to blow up some soldiers, and
which they did in the
demo ends.
first demonstration we saw. But yeah, it was pretty bare bones. I'm not gonna get my hopes up for this because
It's an open world crisis game. So, hey.
I wouldn't even call it a Crisis game.
you mean it's an open world Homefront game.
Well, I mean, it's...
Crisis has tactics, it has powers, it has an unrelenting AI.
All those cool things that's not here.
Yeah, it's not here.
Anyways, I think that covers most of the major stuff that was shown off today. Oh, we didn't talk about Tomb Raider.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider is a video game.
I know you have thoughts, Brad.
Yeah, it's fucking lame, dude. At least what they chose to show, like Chris Davis was saying about Quantum Break. I guess what all these Europeans wanted to see is Lara Croft stabbing dudes in the neck with her big
good lord,
giant
did
knife.
she do that a ton?
Just stop it, okay? Why do publishers think that we're all fucking bloodthirsty maniacs and that this is what we want to see? She's a Tomb Raider. The series got started with her solving puzzles and jumping around and occasionally shooting a bear that was attacking her, not murdering dudes in the neck with... Like, what is... This is not Tomb Raider.
It has underwater swimming. Aren't you excited for that?
But they've shown so little of anything that's not her murdering dudes or surviving that we don't even know if that's just like a scripted sequence, like if that's just like a linear, we don't even know if like you can dive into water anytime you see it. But see, it would be nice to know that, but they're not showing it. They're just showing murder.
But see, that's the thing though. These are limited scope. Okay, they've only got like maybe 5 minutes to show this off before a crowd of 100,000. Wait a second, hang on. When you have a demo that they're supposedly doing at Gamescom, which is this open world exploration and crafting and exploring tombs and raiding them and shit like that, that's not going to fit into a 5-minute presentation.
Okay,
so also, what do they fit
first
in?
Of all, it's like 8 minutes. Second of all,
that's when you use a
montage. These are Europeans. Have you met Jack? Europeans love classic Tomb Raider. Show them some classic fucking Tomb Raider. You know why?
That sounds like stereotyping.
No, but the publishers are stereotyping us. It's not hard to find games with people murdering other people. It is hard to find games that are people solving puzzles. I've been playing fucking Soul Reaver, and me and Chad are just sitting. What was the last game that was even kind of like
Brad,
this?
I get your argument. I'm just saying that for the span of time that they had to present a product, they're going to only be able to show one aspect. And what are they going to do? It's the easiest one to work with.
Well, the real problem is they didn't take the right route, which is to create a montage of the shit people actually want to see, instead of, for the second or maybe even third time, saying, by the way, we have tombs in our game, but we're not going to fucking show them to you.
Oh yeah, they barely showed that. I thought that was stupid.
Do you know why they show murder? Because everyone cheers when in Assassin's Creed he stabs 2 people in the head, or when Lara Croft stabs someone through the neck. Everyone cheers. Everyone cheers because we're just trained like, oh, that's what we do, right? Because that was an animation that some dude spent weeks on. So let's fucking cheer. Oh, a QuickTime event. Let's cheer. Publishers, they hear this, they're like, oh, that's what they want. Let's give them more of that. When those same people that cheer go on message boards and go, why is this so gory? I want some puzzles. Because in whatever at press conferences and auditoriums, people become really fucking stupid.
Because the cheering,
Dude,
you
get that group think going.
You get the group think.
Yeah, the cheering reaction is kind of just like it's like a knee-jerk reaction you would have when something crazy happens in like an action movie.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Like that kind of reaction, which is not necessarily, oh shit, that is crazy, I want more of that. It's really just, oh shit.
Now, when you're playing Assassin's Creed, and when you see the stab 2 dudes with my knives animation for the 42nd time, are you cheering? Or maybe when you get some cool, complex, like platforming sequence or puzzle or some shit.
Every fucking time.
Fine. Let's move on.
All 30 hours of each Assassin's Creed game, every kill, I was cheering every time.
My neighbors were so pissed.
I stabbed that guy. It was so cool.
Anyways. Yeah.
Anyways.
I'll play it and whatever.
How are you going to play it? When are you going to play it?
I liked the last 2. I'll probably play it on 360. I don't fucking know.
But they are dodging around that, talking about that 360 build.
Well, the last time they talked about the release of the game, like a couple weeks ago, when they announced, which we didn't talk about on the last podcast. It was like a week and a half ago. They announced that the PS4 version is going to be a year out. PC version is going to be early next year. But they mentioned the 360 version as well. So
did they say a time
That'll be
frame?
canceled.
Yeah, no, this year.
This year?
Yeah, this year. So I mean, I know everyone thinks it's going to get canceled, but this is being positioned as almost like a first-party thing.
No,
and Microsoft is not going to forget the 360 on this one.
No, I don't expect it to be canceled at all. No. But I'm saying that I
He was like, no.
Not today.
No, I'm like, it feels like it's they haven't talked about it really at all or shown any of it.
They never do. They never do.
But it feels like because they're doing that, it's going to be like a B release for them. Like it's going to come out a few weeks later. They're not going to market it, and it's going to be nowhere near as good as like.
But that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I remember Carlos picked up like the 360 version of Titanfall, and he was like, "This thing runs great." Like this runs like people were acting like this thing was going to be complete dog shit, and he said like this is completely fine.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Maybe I'll wait for the PC version. Maybe I won't. But you know, I think we should stop assuming that it's not going to come out when Microsoft is saying it's going to come out.
Yeah,
and I think that might be the way I decide to play it because I can rent it from GameFly.
All right.
Fuck no, I'm not paying money for it.
All right. That was Tomb Raider. I'm be interested to see what people are saying coming out of the demonstration tomorrow on the show floor. Because apparently that's supposed to have tombs or something. Anyways, I had another news topic I wanted to cover, but I think I'll save mine for the 4-player minute. Because
you sure?
Yeah.
Because I made an overlay, but okay.
Well, this is a long
show.
Did Nolan actually do Community?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to move the fuck on.
All right, so we're going to go jump straight into Community, and I think, Chris Davis, are you going to lead us through Community? I'll do the...
Well, I thought we were going to do the Patreon questions.
All right, well, I'll kick things off this week for Community with some Patreon questions.
Woo!
We got some Patreon... I don't have time to go through all of them this week, so I apologize, but let's see.
But I prefer margarine.
All right, our first question comes from Chad. He is a patron over at patreon.com/4player.
Thank you for being
Chad,
a patron,
thank you.
Chad.
Thank you for being a patron.
Chad.
Classic
Question.
Chad.
Is there a video game console you ever regretted not giving more attention to at any point in your life? He says, for instance, I bought a Game Boy Advance during a time when I was having a falling out with the handheld games. I think I purchased a total of 5 games overall. I didn't realize until I was much older the depth of games its library had to offer. Thus, I regretted not giving it more of a chance at the time.
I completely missed Super Nintendo and Sega Dreamcast. So.
Pretty much everything pre-N64 days, I'm kind of ashamed to say I did not give a fair shake to.
I was a Super Nintendo guy. I did not play enough Genesis. I regret that because I think, you know, I could have got into stuff like Phantasy Star and Shining Force and stuff that genres that I loved, but on a system I didn't have. So
you know, I'm still suffering from this, but you know, the not 3DS, the DS has a lot of games that I probably should have gone and played, but you know, luckily
you had a DS.
I have. I mean, I'm still capable of playing them, but you know, we have a 3DS now, and all the console games I'm trying to play, I just haven't gone back to really play. Like, there's a whole bunch of 2D Castlevania games that I want to play on the DS. You know, there's a whole bunch of games on the DS that I was always curious about playing and I never did. I only played the first Professor Layton and about half of the second one, but at a time I wanted to play that entire series.
Same with me.
So you know, there's that handheld had, you know, honestly, handhelds in general, just all of them, I don't give enough time to. I try really hard because like, when I do play them and I do commit the time to it, I really love them.
No, I agree with handhelds because when I'm at home and I want to play a video game, I'm going to play on a console or I'm going to play on my PC. I'm not going to whip out my 3DS because why would I do that?
Yeah.
Why whip out your 3DS when you can whip out your penis?
Or your Vita.
Do you ever take poops?
What? Is that a question?
Let me tell you this. Majora's Mask is not a good
Do you ever
poop
take
game.
poops? Because that's a great time to play 3DS.
Majora's Mask is not a good poop game.
No, sorry.
it's not.
I'm sorry. Video games are pooping is not a great time to play video games or do anything for that matter.
But poop?
No, because I don't know about you. Sorry. You know what? Let's move on.
Wasn't it a time
Moving
of
on.
silent reflection that we discussed last week?
I've just noticed that I can't talk about this.
Short form game.
Man,
I can't talk about this.
I wish I would have given the Genesis a
Moving
better
on.
shake. I only own like 5 games for the Genesis, and they were Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, Sonic 2 and 3, and Desert Strike and Jungle Strike. And I never tried like anything else because I had a Super Nintendo, and there was fucking Super Mario RPG and a ton of other things. So
No, what I'm trying to say was the moment. Every time I've ever sat down, it's like, all right, I'm gonna poop, and I'm gonna try and do this, whether it's play a game or read a book or a magazine. The moment you commit to doing something while it's happening, it just happens. It's over in like 2 seconds.
You're just a fast pooper, like a cannon. Boom, done.
I mean, that's just something I've noticed.
In and out, 45 seconds.
He's trained in the art of lady pooping.
Very discreet.
Discreet.
Disqueet. Disqueet poops. That's going to be our podcast 420. Disqueet poops.
No, this is just the Disqueet show. Could somebody come up with a spelling for that? Disqueet? Anyways, next question comes from Forrest. He says, what are some games that you like but are inexplicably awful at? For example, I love Mario 3, but I fucking suck
Hitman?
at Mario 3. Hitman. That's a good one. Yeah, I mean, I love the concept of Hitman, but I'm terrible at it. I don't mean to steal your thunder, but that is a good answer.
Thanks, Steve.
The occasional fighting game, like a Super Street Fighter 2, I fucking love that game, but I am atrocious at it.
How about Call of Duty? Well, I don't say he said games that I love. He said games that I like. I would say that I like Call of Duty, but I'm not good at it.
I really liked Final Fantasy Tactics, but I always felt like I was over my head.
Hey, you got through it.
Over my head.
You got through a challenging game.
I did, and but I always felt like I was just squeaking by. Like when Brad's talking about like, oh well, if you level up this character and you level up this character and you get him to this class, this job class, and this job class, and then you get this weapon and put it on, and I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to finish the story missions. Like this is too much.
He didn't even have a calculator.
I didn't. I wasn't as serious as I could have been.
Oh my god. So here's a question from Gonzo. He says, I've learned that listening to music helps make the process of grinding in RPGs feel more faster to get through than it really is. This helps me listen to new music on my Spotify playlist while gaining experience in the process. I was wondering if you do this yourself, and if so, what do you usually listen to genre-wise?
Not me.
I always do this, but I always listen to TV shows, and it's always TV shows I've seen. So like, there's a show that I've been doing this a lot with Witcher called Other Space from Yahoo, and it's like 8 episodes long, and I've played each of those 8 episodes.
You can't grind in The Witcher.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
Witcher's all story.
No, when I'm doing shit that doesn't revolve like cutscenes and shit like that.
Nothing in that game doesn't involve cutscenes.
Dude, okay.
When's the last time you played The Witcher? Exactly.
Actually, it was 2 nights ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But any game, like if I play Dark Souls, like when I was playing Dark Souls 1 last Christmas, I watched entire seasons of Mystery Science Theater 3000 while I was doing that.
Wow.
Like,
Do you know what I do when I play games?
Yeah.
I talk to chat or poop.
Sometimes both. So for me personally, I wouldn't even dream of doing this. When I sit down to play a game, I'm totally focused on the game, or in theory, but I can't bring myself to watch something or listen to something while I'm playing. But if I did, it'd probably be metal, to be totally honest. If I was grinding. I mean, it makes sense if you're grinding. I mean, that's what I listen to at work. So hey, there's that.
You know, I did do a lot of other things while I played Chaos Blade, if you will, my MUD, because that is not like a super like any sort of MUD is not super hands-on. Hell, you set up some scripts, you just start the fight and it does the rest for you. I played like a lot of Morrowind when I was playing Chaos, and watched a lot of movies and TV.
You played a video game while playing an
MMO
game?
essentially. I mean, people do that with WoW as well.
All right. Last question comes from Sunny. If each of you was a furry, then what would your sexy spirit animal be?
Can
I myself would be a majestic armadillo. Why? Because I would be hard all the time, hairy, and somewhat bulbous.
Can I just be a really hairy man? Can Nick be my spirit animal? Humans are animals, right?
If you just like dressed up in a mascot version of Nick.
Well, you got to look at his arms. So.
I'd be whatever the Philly fanatic is.
I guess I'd be a bear because I sleep with hairy gay men.
What?
What are we talking about?
I didn't think you were gonna go that far. Sexy spirit animal, Crispy, go.
I don't know, like a sexy owl.
God damn it! We're just saying our favorite animals. I was gonna say owl, but I was like,
Okay,
owls are.
okay,
I
how
feel like
about-
owls are feminine. So I
How
was like,
about a sexy muskrat?
Why does it have to be sexy?
I don't know, because furry, right? That's
Not
the
all
whole point.
furries are sexy.
This isn't like
You
a
were
weird
being
kink thing.
discriminatory.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Neither do I.
I don't know. I'd be a chocobo.
Chocobread.
All right, thank you for your questions, guys. If you would like to ask us a question on a future show, if you are a patron, you can just simply visit the Patreon activity feed at patreon.com/4Player. I post the questions thread every Sunday night, so anytime between Sunday and Tuesday, you can leave your questions, and I'll get to as many as I can on the show. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are going to be launching some revised Patreon tiers, which we're very excited about. I think you guys will be pretty stoked about them, too. And I think we're going to aim to launch those by August 22nd. Not July, August 22nd. Anyways, Chris Davis, your turn.
It's time for the community.
Well, we already started the community.
Okay,
Yes.
well, we can
You're
go
already
further.
failing.
We are
All right,
in the
well,
middle of the community.
Before we start Chatter of the Week, we have it is a new month. It is August. And
Who
we
is the
have
subscriber
a
Chatter of the Month?
new supporter of the month.
Supporter of the month.
I ran this afternoon, and our supporter of the month is Liz6005.
Liz6005.
Liz.
Liz.
Where are you, Liz? Pick a game.
So Liz, we'll be contacting you shortly to get a list of games that you'd like to see us play on the feed throughout the month of August.
Crispy specifically will be playing your game. I just have a feeling.
Why?
I don't know. Because your new capture card, you know?
Oh, yeah. If we get that sorted out. For sure.
Yeah, we're going to get that sorted out. Anyways,
Yeah, we will.
congratulations, Liz. Thank you, of course, for being a patron/supporter or subscriber. I'm not sure which one you are, honestly, but thank you nonetheless. We'll be reaching out to you soon. Chris Davis, what's next?
Well, it's I do believe it is actually time for Chatter of the Week.
All right, we got to do this quickly. We
All
got to
right.
do this.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. That's
Okay,
exactly
I
what
will
this
try
is.
to go fast.
Talk faster.
Our first contestant is
Faster. Quicker.
Our first contestant is
reading.
Sean. His chat name is Valentin992.
Val-
He's from Ireland.
Valentin.
Ooh.
Faster.
Ireland.
All right.
Irish.
Sean's shameful secret. As a kid, new video games were rare for me. To get new games sooner, I traded my substantial collection of PS2 games in at GameStop to get money off my next game. I traded away my favorite games such as Breath of Fire, Star Ocean, and a few Shin Megami Tensei games. Thankfully, I've slowly started rebuilding my collection. What was wrong with me as a kid?
Everything. Everything
You had
was
no
wrong with
money.
you.
Nothing was wrong with you.
His greatest gaming achievement, and I'm already liking this kid, completing the final mission of Ace Combat 5 in the hardest way.
Is this your brother?
Is
From
it?
Ireland.
Is it?
From Ireland?
I have an Irish brother. Somebody
Faster. Faster.
taking the smallest and weakest plane available and flying it into a falling satellite's exhaust port to blow it up. You normally just break it into pieces from the outside. It's hard to do and requires precise flying to avoid crashing. Did a half asleep one night, could never do it again. That's actually pretty impressive, seriously. Top 5 games of all time. Number 5, Ace Combat.
5.
That one he said.
0 is the one that followed up. It was pretty good.
Is this just you?
This is not me, I swear to God. Number 4, Super Mario.
Is your favorite cereal Lucky Charms, Chris Davis?
I never had Lucky Charms.
That's kind of
actually.
racist.
That is kind of racist.
What?
That is terribly wrong.
That's not racist.
Could have been worse. Could have been a potato joke.
Is it not
Anyways.
racist because Irish
Anyways.
people...
What was the next one?
Number 4, Super
Potatoes.
Mario.
Super Mario.
Super Mario Bros.
World.
3.
I'm going to go with
Faster.
Sunshine.
Super Mario World.
Yes.
Number 3, Skies of Arcadia Legends.
What? Okay.
Because there's no other Skies of Arcadia.
Well, I mean, that's the
Was
GameCube
that the
version.
GameCube one, right? Yeah.
Thought that was just a remake.
Moving on.
Come on.
Number 2,
Just a pork.
Star Fox.
Potatoes.
64.
64.
It has to be 64.
If it's not 64, I don't want to hear the answer.
It's 64.
Potatoes.
And his number 1 game of all time is Final Fantasy.
Potatoes.
7.
9.
Potatoes.
If he says
So terrible. What is wrong with you?
What is it?
if he says 9, he wins.
It's
Right
Final
here.
Fantasy 9.
I am part Irish.
You got my vote.
He also says, thanks for the many years of entertainment.
You're welcome.
You are so welcome.
All right, our next contestant, possibly rigged. His name is David.
Oh,
His chat name is Mist Dragon 3000,
Oh, I wonder if he likes Final Fantasy 4.
and he's from Highland Village, Texas.
So it's a David from Texas.
Yes.
Okay.
Possibly rigged.
Okay.
We don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, his shameful secret. I always used to harass my brother into playing against me in multiplayer when we were younger for any game that featured it. However, despite his reluctance, he always played me, only for me to turn around and use the dirtiest, most bullshit tactics to always win. I've become a better gamer now, but I still betray my brother's trust over and over.
This is a terrible person.
Potatoes.
So terrible.
It's not.
His greatest gaming achievement. Getting all the achievements in the Mass Effect games, the hardest of which had to be beating Mass Effect 2 on Insanity. Geth Hunters are bullshit. Although getting the Liara achievement in Mass Effect 1 was hard too, since you had to do 85% of the game with her in your party, and you don't get her right away.
That's true.
Once you get Liara, why would you ever not have her in your party?
Yeah, right?
I don't even remember whether
Right.
I had her in my party.
I didn't
Well,
have
I
her.
barely
bad-
remember any
I
Mass
didn't
Effect
have her in my
person.
party for.
You are both bad people.
Dude, I only put female characters in my party.
Right?
That's
Girl
kind of
power.
true.
Yep.
Well, I was always Garrus and Tally, because Garrus is my
Oh,
homeboy.
yeah, Garrus.
Yeah, I like
But
Garrus.
I consider him to be...
All right, and his
A girl.
David's top 5 games of all time. Number 5, Bastion.
Okay.
Okay.
Good choice.
Number 4, Halo.
Combat
Halo
Evolved.
Wars. Halo
2.
Wars.
Halo 2.
Halo Wars.
Hill 4.
Halo
Wars.
Halo 2.
Why not Wars?
Number 3, Metroid Prime.
Hunters.
1. Metroid Prime.
Federation Force? No. Metroid Prime 1.
2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, Mass Effect.
2.
2.
For iOS.
He's a 2.
1. Mass Effect 1.
Mass Effect 2. And his number 1 game of all time, Star Wars.
Oh my god.
I don't like this
Well, it's
guy.
not Shadows of the Empire.
It's Knights of the Old Republic. Look
Dark
at this.
Forces
Look
2
at his
Jedi
list.
Knights of the Old Republic.
Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron.
The original.
Okay.
Rogue
Okay.
On
Okay.
N64 too. So.
Of all
He also
time.
says, I've been a lurker since 2009. I've kept up with the podcast since. Keep up the great work.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right,
but
so
since
we're-
I already just declared my winner, my vote, you know.
All right. Our 2 contestants are Sean and David.
Yes.
Sean's shameful secret was selling off his entire PS2 collection practically. His greatest game achievement was doing something really fucking hard in Ace Combat 5, which is true. And his top 5 games were Ace Combat 0, Super Mario World, Skies of Arcadia Legends, Star Fox 64, and Final Fantasy 9.
Okay. And David?
David's shameful secret was he bullied his brother into beating him in multiplayer games. His greatest game achievement was getting all the achievements in the Mass Effect series. And his top 5 games of all time are Bastion, Halo 2, Metroid Prime 1, Mass Effect 2, and Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
All right.
Gentlemen, your votes.
I'm going to give it to Sean, even though I like David's top 5 list way better.
I'm going with David.
I'll
But
give it to Sean.
But Sean had Final Fantasy 9 as his number 1, and I love that
I'm
game.
giving it to David
Sean
because fuck
wins
you
because
guys.
Ace Combat.
And because you made all those potato jokes.
Sean
Potatoes.
gets my votes because, Ace Combat.
Sean
so.
gets my vote because of potatoes.
I'm sorry, David. I tried.
So, Sean, congratulations. You are Chatter for the Week. If you would like to become Chatter of the Week, email Nolan Hedstrom at 4playernetwork.com. Please be sure to include...
Actually, no. Whoa. What are you doing? You're doing it all wrong,
I'm
sir.
doing it
You're
the
doing
old
it
way?
wrong.
To become Chatter of the Week, you simply go to 4playernetwork.com. Under the podcast section at the top of the page, there is a button that says Become Chatter of the Week. You click
There's
that,
that
you fill
too. I
out
was
the, you
going to
fill
get
out
to
the form.
that.
Yeah,
Why would you tell him to
fill
email
out
him
the
and
form.
fill? You just fill out the form.
Because I thought you could do both still.
No, just fill out the form.
Fill
Okay.
out the form.
The point of the form.
The form.
The point of the form was to eliminate.
Potatoes,
Paperwork.
potatoes.
Paperwork.
There it is.
And anyway,
Is
you
it-
too could be Chatter of the Week.
Is it that time again?
For the 4-player minute.
What's the 4-player minute?
What
Hide,
is
sweat,
the
shame,
form?
fuck. Go, Brad.
Oh, I don't even have one.
God damn
My
it.
hype. My hype this week is for No Man's Sky.
My hype is
sweat.
Scalebound. My hype is Scalebound. My fuck yous to Konami. My fuck you to Capcom as well. And my hype is for my other hype, because I have 2 fucks and 2 hypes. My other hype is for Scalebound. Go.
Wow, that's the fastest you've ever done it, Brad.
My hype this week is for No Man's Sky because awesome. My other hype for this week is for more Galak-Z because that game's really cool. My other hype for this week is for finishing King's Quest tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time. You guys should come check that out. If I finish that in a reasonable time, I'm probably going to play some Galak-Z afterwards. And then my just kind of, I don't know what category this is, but Bungie decided to cut out Peter Dinklage from Destiny, and I think that's kind of sad and funny.
We do our hype, sweat, shame, and sad and funny.
Yeah. And they're replacing him with Nolan North.
Because, of course.
Because they didn't have time to think too hard about who they wanted to replace him with.
A professional.
Are they just putting him forward going forward?
No,
or are they
they're
replacing everything?
retroactively re-recorded everything that he
fuck.
did. He's like, Peter Dinklage is no longer going to be
He must have been
in
expensive.
Destiny.
Is it probably expensive? And it sounded like he mailed his performance in.
Dude, so bad. That game
Yeah.
sucks, and that performance was suck. Anyways,
You know,
your turn.
Peter Dinklage used to be a respected actor.
And now he's
right?
doing movies like
sure,
Pixels.
but like he's not a fucking voice actor.
And now he did Pixels, guys. What the hell? All right, sorry.
I don't know. He got paid money. My hype this week is for the Rare Replay because I just got it in the mail, and that means I am just days away from playing motherfucking Blast Core.
I just got it in the mail.
I love
and
that
I'm
game.
Days away from.
I desperately want to play that game so much.
I'm a little disappointed that they did nothing to a lot of those N64 games. I thought they were going to kind of like Banjo-Kazooie-ize them. You know what I mean?
Not for $30. They weren't going to do it for $30. Because I mean, Perfect Dark when they re-released on the Xbox, that was a $20 thing, and they did a bunch to it.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So it was going to happen for $30. My sweat this week, I'm kind of starting to get a little bit excited for Mad Max.
I'm excited about Mad Max.
I want to play Mad Max, but
I played that. I played that at E3.
It feels like they're just sending it out to die.
feel like that's kind of bizarre.
They can't see that.
I know.
Releasing at the same time.
I'm trying. Okay,
Furious.
Camera's over there.
it's under the About Our Show section.
It's
Sorry.
not going to have Furious.
Just why not buying it?
I don't know.
The reason you're not buying it is because it comes out the same day as Metal Gear Solid.
Yup.
Yep.
Buying that, renting Mad Max.
My fuck you of the week goes to Konami because they have once again begun marketing MGS5, and I'm fucking tired of just all the fucking marketing. Just release the fucking game already, you pieces of shit.
Wow.
Just fucking release it. Stop.
If this was any other company other than Konami, I would tell you just to do calm yourself.
Well, I mean, you
but
could be mad at them, but that's, I feel like, a
They
weird thing to be
have
mad at them about.
overmarketed the fuck out of this game, and I'm so tired of
How
it.
do they overmarket a Metal Gear?
Easily by just showing hours and hours and
hours
hours.
and hours and hours
Just
of
let me
just
play it. Just
of
let me
just-
play it.
If only there was some more Doom marketing.
I know, right?
hours and hours of. I've already forgotten what it's called.
Metal Gear Solid 5?
Did you see the
Phantom Pain?
Did you see the blue wisp arm?
Ball.
Which is a reference to Zone of the Enders 2.
And MGS2 spoiled something that was actually really sad about reading in Hip Chat the other day, and I'm like, no
MGS
more.
MGS, he spoiled something for The Witcher 2, and I still cry myself to sleep every night.
Damn
All
it.
right, guys,
And my
I never
thank you
did
this
that
week
post.
goes to Nolan for actually not being here, so I can actually be on the fucking podcast. Nick, it's yours.
My hype this week goes to, this was my original news topic, is the team that developed Resident Evil Remake has already put together a full-blown proposal to do Resident Evil 2 Remake and has submitted it to Capcom. It is in their hands. They even took a picture of them putting it in their hands. Capcom has this proposal and are seriously considering doing a full-blown Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I shit you not, I would be... I can't even...
We didn't do that during the news.
No,
Yeah.
I can't even begin to express how excited I would be.
But
I would be for
aren't
that.
you a little worried that modern day Capcom can't do the game we want them to do?
No, no, I don't feel that way because I'm not a pessimist, Brad.
It's Capcom.
I know.
What do you think it'll be like? Kind of Resident Evil 4 style, or do you think it'll be still?
I'm
like
hoping
classic?
it's just like Resident Evil Remake.
I think it's gonna be like remake.
Whatever, it doesn't really matter. I still want to see whatever they can do with Resident Evil 2. I will say this: my preemptive fuck you of the forever will be to Capcom if they decide to do that and then release it as a download again. Because I still haven't played Remake because it's a fucking download. It pisses me off.
5 years from now, you're
Dude,
going to
what
be
are
the
you
saddest
talking
man
about?
on
They're
earth.
not going to release a fucking disc.
My preemptive fuck you of the week goes to
What
Crispy.
are you talking about?
It's such garbage.
You're
Okay.
going to be such a sad man in just a few years.
My other fuck you of the week, I have a lot of fuck yous this week, goes to Konami and Chris Davis, who I'm now lumping together into the same category. I got a message from Chris Davis today in Hip Chat saying, Nick, the new Silent Hill game was announced with a link, and I was like, oh shit!
Konami
And I
Davis.
clicked it, and it was fucking Konami released Silent Hill pachinko machine.
Hooray! The legacy lives on.
And I died a little inside because this was
So now you feel like what Brad felt like last week.
dude, I felt like this. My heart. I have never, ever, 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 ever in my entire gaming career, quote unquote, have ever felt the excitement that I felt last year at this exact time when Silent Hills was first announced.
I believe
And
it.
almost on the anniversary to the day, you ripped my heart out again. You fucking.
I believe it.
It doesn't matter. Namco's
The only
gonna
person
announce
I hate more than Konami right now is Chris Davis.
Namco's going to announce an Ace Combat pachinko machine, and I'm going to be ultra sad. So
Was Silent Hills your most anticipated game of the year?
Silent Hills was my most anticipated game that I don't think I've ever been more excited for a new game announcement in my life. I'm sorry. I get animated. I apologize. Oh my god. And I guess that's it. I had a lot of fuck yous this week. I can't think. My
we
sweat.
only had 3.
Oh really? My sweat. Fucking PAX. My sweat's for PAX. PAX is coming up at the end of the month, and I know at least the very, very least myself and Ed will be there. I'm hoping we can get these two fuckers there as well. But I don't know. I always get kind of stressed around PAX, and it's my girlfriend and I's 2-year anniversary, same weekend as PAX. It's just a lot of stuff happening in PAX. At PAX. It's a lot of stuff. So there, that's my sweat.
Are you going to be in PAX? Why don't you tell us in the forums?
Yeah, if there's anybody that's going to be at PAX, I know there's a lot of people that have been going to PAX for years and maybe have not been going the past couple of years, but if you're going to be at PAX Prime at the end of the month, let us know. We'll make a forum thread, or someone should start a forum thread for PAX attendees, and so we can kind of get a feel for who all is going to be there.
And while you're stopping by the forums, why don't you stop by the front page of the site and check out our Batman Arkham Knight review?
Thank you. This is why I'm the host. Yes. Not Chris Davis.
We said we were going to pip this stuff at the beginning and the end.
Nick and Chris Davis gave Batman a 9, but what did Brad and I give it?
Who knows? Find out tomorrow. Or
Anyways,
visit the site today.
Like I said, check out the Batman Arkham Knight review. It's a new,
4 out of
it's
10.
kind of a new structure that we came up with. So we want to know what you guys think. So go to the site 4playernetwork.com, leave a comment down below, and let us know what you think. And we'll see about maybe doing these for some of the bigger games that we all end up playing together. And with that said, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because this show has gone on really long.
Wrap things up with a 4-player minute.
Time to wrap it up with the 4-player minute. Let's start over.
Oh, it's like a nightmare.
Anyway.
It just gets later and
Hype,
later.
sweat, shame, fuck.
All right, 4playernetwork.com, guys, is the show. Nolan will be returning to us next week. Nolan,
Allegedly.
don't make me a liar again. I know he's still alive, though. I saw him yesterday. So he'll be back next week, next Tuesday
Nolan
night.
is
And, of
dead.
course, you can watch us broadcast games every single night at 4pp.tv. You can also check out our sweet broadcast calendar over at 4playernetwork.com/calendar.
Which I update.
Which, yes, Chris Davis updates. And, of course, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Oh, let's wrap things up with the 4-player minute.
My hype this week is for No Man's Sky.
My hype for this week is the end of this show.
Can my hype be for
No.
No Man's Sky too?
No! I'm the only one that's allowed to be excited for No Man's Sky.
I'm just going to have it trail off slowly.